A key meeting at the White House. Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump hosting the French president on the third anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine as the U.S. continues to push a peace deal.
European leaders have demanded a larger presence in negotiations to end the war in Ukraine after a high-ranking U.S. delegation met with Russian officials earlier this month in Saudi Arabia. President Trump also says his administration is close to a deal with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals that U.S. officials say would tie the country's two economies.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, where the French president also paid a visit earlier today to join President Trump for a virtual summit of other G7 leaders. Britain's prime minister, who also visits the White House this week, arguing Russia does not hold all the cards. The UN General Assembly passing two resolutions drafted by Ukraine and the U.S. calling for an end to the war, but the U.S. abstained from its own resolution after European amendments to make it clear Russia invaded its neighbor. A federal judge is keeping certain information away from the Department of Government Efficiency.
A lawsuit brought by the American Federation of Teachers and other labor unions was seeking to block the Elon Musk-led Doge from accessing financial data related to student loans at the Department of Education. A federal judge in Maryland siding with the unions and issuing a temporary restraining order blocking Doge from accessing that information, overseen by the Ed Department and the U.S. Office of Personnel Management. Other judges have allowed Doge access to some education records, but the latest ruling could lead to a Supreme Court showdown between the two sides.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. A new lawsuit filed earlier today challenges a Musk demand made over the weekend for federal employees to list what they accomplished last week or risk being fired. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Through our Monday afternoon, lots of sunshine, 62 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 42 for the overnight low. Tuesday, sunny right back to 62. Clouds on Tuesday night, 44. Wednesday, mix of clouds and sunshine. Some very light rain showers developing Wednesday afternoon. It's not much, 59. Only slightly cooler on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Federal bureaucrat who defies the lawful orders of this president will be fired. President Trump will ensure that whether you work at the FBI, whether you work at the CIA, whether you work at the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, career civil servants, also known as bureaucrats, work for the American people, and they work for the president the American people elected. They do not set their own agenda. They do not write their own rules. They do not work for themselves. They work for each and every one of you. You pay their salaries. You pay for the buildings they work in. You pay for every single thing they do. And if they are not following the laws, the Constitution, and the President of the United States, then they will find a new career.
Stephen Miller speaking from CPAC, and he's just like a certain kind of character in this Trump administration, isn't he? He, if in the Avengers, is he like the Hulk? Like Hulk smash. And then Stephen Miller just comes out and starts smacking people around.
Okay, I follow you, because I was picturing him more as I can't remember the character's name, but he's more like the guy who sets everything up. He's not really a superhero. He's just sort of the organizer.
Agent Coulson?
That sounds.
Coulson is one.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
So I think he's Hulk. Does he ever not seem like he's ready to?
No, he fights.
Smash.
Yeah, he fights.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Happy Monday. We're happy to be with you today. The YouTube poll kind of goes along with that a bit. The question that we're asking you is, we want you to tell us your grade for Doge. A, B/C, D, or F. Standard Annie Fry Show grading scale, no curve. You have to tell us how you think they're doing so far. Do you want them to do more? Are you thinking, okay, that's a lot, that's enough? What do you expect from Doge? What did you expect? And how do you feel about what they've accomplished so far? I think it's certainly a polarizing issue for Americans to watch what is happening with Doge, but also at the same time, I think it's one of the things that they said they were going to do. It's always fun to watch people talk about Elon Musk as an unelected bureaucrat and blah, 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 except for the fact that Donald Trump couldn't have been more on the nose, out in the open, up front with saying, Elon Musk is going to be in charge of Doge. We all knew what Doge was before the election, and Doge is an Elon Musk thing. Wasn't his coin or something?
Yeah, it's Dogecoin, Doggy coin, or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, what did they say? Federal Agency for Oversight is what some people were suggesting that they end up changing it to instead of Doge. Federal Agency for Oversight.
Oh.
But anyway, Doge is fine too. And it is what it is. And it is that because of Elon Musk. So, of course, anybody who was paying attention to the election knew that the Elon Musk contingent relationship with Donald Trump was going to be to make the government more efficient. And we heard a lot of people whining and moaning about it because, like, oh, you're going to create another agency in government to see if government is efficient. And it's like, well, yeah, that's how this is going to work. And it seems as though it's been working pretty well so far, at least under my opinion of it. I think that what we've seen Elon Musk do, which is essentially transparency brought to your taxpayer dollar, where is it going? Should it continue to go there? And now the question, we addressed this last week a little bit, is what should happen next with the money that's coming in? Here is a show from Charlemagne talking about, with Andrew Schultz, this possibility of a Doge check.
The worst thing for the Democrat Party right now would be if it actually works. The worst thing for the Democrat Party is if the debt does go down.
To be honest with you, the worst thing, you're right, but honestly, the worst thing that could happen is Elon gives out them $5,000 stimulus checks.
Oh, it's over.
He give out them $5,000 stimulus checks.
It's a wrap.
It's going to be bad for a while.
Imagine what people will feel when they go, by the way, this isn't us giving you money. This is us giving you your hard-earned money back. You deserve this.
Listen, from a political marketing perspective, it's genius.
Because they understand what people are feeling. And the Democrats, instead of crying about all this and labeling him big bad man and all this other stuff, they should really be paying attention to what the American people are feeling and finding ways for their policies to have messaging that taps into what Americans are feeling. Don't gaslight them.
I'm with you.
Just, you have to understand what they're feeling and then implement policies that tap into that.
So if you're listening to this conversation, these are not Republican strategists. These are probably Charlemagne and Andrew Schultz. They're probably most liberally suggested as like disgruntled Democrats. Probably socially libertarian to a pretty large extent, not interested in any way, shape, or form in controlling how you live your life because they don't want you to control how they live their life. But they have a lot of roots in the Democrat Party, and they have advocated for Democratic candidates to win, and they've been very honest about the Democratic Party's problems leading up to this very moment in time. And listening to Charlemagne there say the worst thing that could happen to the Democratic Party is that these checks go out, I believe it. And that's what I've been thinking this whole time. If this money comes back to you because it was your money, how devastating is it going to be for the Democratic Party to see Republicans, Donald Trump, Elon Musk go forage for your taxpayer dollars that have been wasted all across the globe, find that money and bring it back to you? And not use it in their eyes for Republican government, give it back to the taxpayer. Now, obviously, the alternative to returning it to the taxpayer in the minds of the people who are running the government right now would be naturally to pay down the debt. Put all that money towards your debt. Pay off the credit card. But I don't believe, and what we've heard from Trump, he said 20%. 20% would go to the taxpayer. Did he say 20% would go to the debt? And then the remaining 60% they would apply towards the next year so that they could have the ability to bring down what they would have to budget for the next year. And he said that's the question that Peter Ducey asked of who was it? Stephen Miller? It was Stephen Miller in the press briefing. Peter Ducey said, "Where does the other 60% go?" And he said, economically speaking, you apply it to the next year, and then that's how you're able to fortify the savings long term, because you're applying it to the next budget. And if you're paying it forward in that way and you budget less, then the budget is less. And then you would have to go into massive increases in the future, which would be much harder to do, to ask the taxpayers for another tax increase. if you think about Doge only through the personalities and the massive egos of the two people who are responsible for the most of it, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, if the only thing you see are those two people and you don't like Republicans and you hate Donald Trump, it's going to be pretty simple for you to be disgusted by anything they do because you're not going to dig any deeper into it. If you're Charlemagne here, Andrew Schultz on their show, and you're sitting down and having a real conversation about the actual facts of what is taking place, it is going to be ridiculously hard for Democrats to package this before the information gets to the American people in a way that truly persuades people to hate Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I've said this on the show many times in the campaign. The only true opponent that Donald Trump had in the last election was the caricature of Donald Trump that the media had successfully painted of him in conjunction with the lunatics that are in government feeding them these bologna sausage stories. If Donald Trump is able to make enough of the American people understand who he is, why he is who he is, and what he stands for, the Kamala Harrises of the world don't stand a chance. And we're seeing day after day after day evidence that the media can no longer withstand the status quo that they have put all of us in. Lester Holt stepping down. Do you know much about that story?
I don't know why he's stepping down. I just know that he is.
Joy Reid, relieved of her duties this weekend. She's the worst. She's the worst of the worst. I saw some people suggest that she would go on to The View and join The View.
That sounds about right.
I don't think so.
No?
I think that personality, you can't add somebody to that panel that's going to turn it and make it go as far nutty left as you possibly can. They're pretty much already there. I don't think that Joy Behar and what's her face with the doctor who scammed the insurance fraud, Sunny Hostin, I don't think that they need Joy Reid to scoop them on being psychotically stupid.
She would pull the spotlight away, too, because she's a big personality.
She'll do something else. Maybe she'll go hook up with Don Lemon and do some sort of joint venture with some of these other people who have been bounced. The Lester Holt NBC Nightly News story, Fox News reported on it. Just, I guess, imagine that they're like laughing when they're writing these articles. NBC News, Lester Holt is stepping down as anchor of NBC Nightly News after 10 years. He announced on Monday, "A smile comes to my face when I think that with Nightly News and Dateline, I have now anchored two of the most successful and iconic television news programs in broadcast history. A 20-year-old radio reporter on the police beat, chasing breaking news around San Francisco, I could have never imagined my career path would unfold in the way it has. What an amazing ride." Holt will remain at the network and focus full-time on Dateline beginning this summer when he leaves NBC Nightly News. So he's moving over, and they have not yet announced the replacement for NBC Nightly News. The key here is to pay attention to what fills the vacancy. Who goes on SNBC in Joy Reid's spot long term? If they put somebody on right now, is it long term? Is it temporary? Who do they put on NBC Nightly News? Pay attention, because if these networks are making a shift, an intentional shift away from where they've been before, what are they signaling to you that they think that you deserve? Do you deserve to be reported to, or do you deserve to be handled, managed, influenced through story selection and story presentation? The Democrats cannot sustain nor rebuild the stronghold they had on groupthink in the United States of America without the media. They cannot do it. And when I think about the main players that are in the media, that are in government right now, specifically the Adam Schiffs of the world, Senator Adam Schiff from California, when I think about the hard work he put in to get Donald Trump impeached, the lies that he told, and he gets a promotion. If Adam Schiff comes on to any television network, any broadcast anywhere, fortunately now his reputation precedes himself, and it is what it is. People don't look at him and take him seriously. They look at him and they're repulsed by him, or they're super excited about him because it's time to put on our Trump hater hat and, just therapy, misery loves company. Let's all do this together. Hold hands, kumbaya, that type of stuff. They have lost their grip on the media. They cannot control the narrative any longer. And Doge is the perfect example of how when they can't control the media, people who are not traditionally going, MAGA, I'm ultra MAGA, whatever it is, people who are not those people who are A, super annoyed and disgusted by politics, B, paying attention to their own lived experience, which is their checkbook for the most part, and the cost of groceries and the cost of gas and the cost of everything. And they're saying, wow, the way this has been going, this hasn't been working for me. Those people are going to watch Doge and say, you've been taking this money out of my paycheck and spending it where? And maybe in your paycheck and in mine, you look at your bottom line federal tax burden that you have and you think, wow, that money would make a lot of difference to me. It's not even hardly a drop in the bucket compared to the whole amount of money that they just flippantly talk about spending all over the world on things that have nothing to do with making this country better. That information is now coming out. It's coming out because of non-traditional media. The left can't control the narrative. And the Democratic Party is in great peril because the truth is what is prevailing. They cannot launder and prepackage information that gets to you so that they can have, what's the phrase? Their truth. No more of that. Just truth. We're back to it. And I think that is the number one thing that has to happen in order to make America great again. We want to know your thoughts. Grade Doge, A, B/C, D, or F. You go to the Annie Fry YouTube channel at youtube.com/@AnnieFry, or just search it up on your phone on the YouTube app. You'll see that we're broadcasting live right now. And when you pull up the live chat function, that's where the YouTube live chat poll exists. We'd love to know what your grade is for this. Ryan Schmelz on the show when we come back. I'm always excited to talk to Ryan these days because there's so much happening week to week on Capitol Hill. He's the Fox News Radio Capitol Hill and White House correspondent, and he's going to join us. You can watch it as well on YouTube while you come to vote. We'll be right back.
Why should I even bother?
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Like Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, or
Thomas Helbig, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, first of all, wonderful people. That matters to me when I'm doing business with somebody. I want to make sure that I'm dealing with people who are good people who don't disrespect me for who I am or what I believe in. And when you go to the Retirement Advisory Group, I would say it's not 100%, but I don't know, it's somewhere upwards close to that. Of their clients, I should say, are 97.1 listeners, are Annie Fry Show listeners. So you're sitting out here going, okay, well, what can the Retirement Advisory Group do for me? Well, first of all, they'll sit down and have a conversation with you for free. You're interested in retiring soon. You're in your late 50s and your 60s. Maybe you've even just retired. And you want to make sure that you've made all the correct moves to insulate you from dramatic market downturns, from being concerned about the ups and the downs. You want to participate in the ups, all of this stuff. You want to just make sure that you don't have to worry about it. You don't even really have to think about it. It's taken care of. That's when you go to the Retirement Advisory Group. Set up that free appointment, and you can decide afterwards if you want to continue that relationship at 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim. And if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Get 50% off all windows, plus no interest or payments for 2 years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you have a furnace that needs service, a heat pump that needs repairs, or a boiler that needs to be replaced, contact Air Comfort Service. They offer 24/7 emergency heating service too. aircomfortservice.com.
The Annie Fry Show YouTube live chat poll of the day is happening now. Tune in to the Annie Fry Show live stream. Vote and be a part of the conversation by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube. Subscribe and leave a comment.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
He's a ghost, then I can be a phantom, holding him for ransom. Some boys are trying too hard. He don't try at all though. Younger than my exes, but he act like such a man. So I see nothing better. I keep him forever, like a vendetta. I see.
We passed a Senate budget resolution, but as you know, any resolution that comes out of the Senate has to be married up with the House. So eventually, we'll have to get on the same page. Speaker Johnson has a very thin margin, as you know, and I think he's got the heavier lift. But it's going to be a challenge, but we don't have any choice but to deal with these issues. And we particularly are not going to allow a multi-trillion-dollar tax increase on 62% of American taxpayers, which would happen if we did not extend the expiring tax provisions.
Well, there's Senator Cornyn talking about the budget resolution. We've got, we heard, a lot of progress that was made during the last week in the Senate and their ability to try to get a vote-a-rama done. I'm going to ask our next guest about that here in just a second. But there is great movement going on, and it seems as though, even though if it might be at a snail's pace, progress is being made on Capitol Hill for you, the American taxpayer. Let's get to our next guest. Ryan Schmelz joins us once again. He is Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill, and White House correspondent. You can find him on X as well. I encourage you to follow him at Ryan Schmelz Fox. Ryan, welcome back to the show. Thanks for being with us again today.
Always great to be on, Annie. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Give us a lowdown of the Senate last week was able to do a vote-a-rama, and I kept seeing that word, and I just think it's funny that there's like this. You're in Congress. It's congressional. It's magnificent. And they're doing vote-a-ramas. It's a funny name. Tell us what took place in the Senate last week. What did the Senate get down to do?
Right. So essentially, the Senate took their version of the budget resolution, which is President Trump's agenda items. They have national security in there. They have border security in there, upwards of $300 billion plus for those issues. There's also going to be energy policy that they can insert at a later date. So what they did is that they had an amendment process where members could come out, they could pitch their amendments, they could have debate on that, and then they would vote on it. So after 26 amendments or so were voted on, it took all night long, but around 4 a.m, they finally had a final vote on the budget resolution. It passed with one Republican voting no. That was Rand Paul, because he essentially thinks that this is just a green light for more deficit spending and doesn't do enough to address the deficits that we're facing as a country.
Ryan, I heard or read a lot about, the Democrats were going to try to throw everything at the Republicans during this vote-a-rama, make them take, air quotes, hard votes and take stands against things that I guess the Democrats thought would be bad for them. What kind of statements were the Democrats trying to make with this experience?
Well, I think they're really trying to hone in on the idea of Medicaid potentially facing some cuts because of this budget resolution that Republicans are pushing forward. Now, the argument might be a little bit stronger in the House version, because in the House version, you add the tax law into this. And with the tax law, you have $4.5 trillion in tax cuts. You've got $2 trillion in spending cuts, including a provision in there that directs the Energy and Commerce Committee to cut upwards of $800 billion. Well, that's the committee where Medicaid gets funded underneath of. So I think Democrats are trying to make the point that if the GOP gets its way, then you're going to have to see $2 trillion in spending cuts. And there's no way that they reach $2 trillion without getting into entitlement programs, which President Trump has consistently said is off the table. But I think there is this thought that it's going to be very hard to find $2 trillion worth of savings without either getting into the Pentagon or getting into entitlement programs.
Well, we're speaking with Ryan Schmelz right now with Fox News Radio, Capitol Hill White House correspondent. Do we know what the progress is right now in the House? The Senate tried to take care of their end of things. What's the progress with the big, beautiful bill that we hope to see come out of the House?
They're expecting a rule vote on this tonight, which is a procedural hurdle that it has to pass. And then they will have a final vote, as of right now, tomorrow. Now, I think there are some rumblings that there's a possibility this bill could get pulled because they may not have the votes to be able to pass this. You already have one member, Victoria Sparks from from Indiana, I should say, coming out and saying that she's officially a no. You've had some other warnings that are thrown out there by some Republicans, but no major hard no's just yet. But here's where the issue is going to come. You may have some conservative members who think it doesn't go far enough, pretty much siding with Rand Paul on that issue. You may have some moderate members who are concerned that this could cut benefits. And you also have some who are maybe pushing back because of the rhetoric that's going towards Ukraine right now, coming from the White House. And also, there could be some other ones out there, especially from the blue states like New York, as well as California and New Jersey, who may have an issue with how much of the state and local tax deduction is going to be included in this. And if it's not, they could be on the verge of being a no too.
Is it really Speaker Johnson that's trying to hold this very fragile thing together? Does he have the weight of the presidency behind him to pressure these people into making a yes vote to support it?
Well, President Trump has made it very clear this is the version that he likes. So he would prefer them to go ahead and pass the House version instead of going forward with the Senate version, which doesn't include the tax law. So they'd pretty much have to pass a different reconciliation bill at a later date. So President Trump has made it very clear he wants them to pass this, but it doesn't seem like that's been enough to get everybody on board just now. So yes, a lot of the wrangling and the whipping comes from Speaker Johnson, but to the extent that he's getting assists from the White House in terms of making personal phone calls or anything like that, we're not quite sure if that's going on or not.
We're speaking with Ryan Schmelz from Capitol Hill. He's the Fox News Radio Capitol Hill White House correspondent. Do you feel as though while people are advocating for their own constituencies, their districts, certainly in the House, a much smaller, much more personal connection there, just due to the size of the representation, do you feel like the purpose and the intent behind the Republicans is to get to that solution, even if it's going to be hard, or are we bursting at the seams yet with our differences?
It's hard to tell. I think they all have the same goal in mind for the most part, but I think where they want to take that goal is kind of where I think some of the disagreement comes in. Because, I think there are some who just want to get the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act extended at all costs. But then there's others who say, no, we're not cutting taxes this time. We want to make sure we pay for those taxes. And that's why there was actually a provision that was put in there before that pretty much says that initially they had a $1.5 trillion floor for spending cuts. Well, that got changed to be $2 trillion. And essentially what they're saying is that if we cannot find the savings in order to reach $2 trillion in cuts, then we have to take money away from the tax cuts and use that to offset the difference. That's been a little bit of a disagreement amongst Republicans. It did get into the final form, but those are kind of where some of these disagreements are coming from. It's how we get to that $2 trillion and what's on the table for getting to that $2 trillion. So, well, I think that the end game is still kind of the same for everyone. They still have a lot of disagreements about how they get there.
Ryan Schmelz speaking with us right now. So let's talk a little bit about Doge and how the cuts that are being found, or the spending that's being found, a lot of it is through, of course, USAID. Trying to figure out as a constituent here, as a taxpayer, what is, if you find a cut with that agency and you realize we're spending all of these millions and billions of dollars all across the world, and when Elon Musk puts them out there, when a congressman puts them out there and everyone's like, why are we doing that? It makes sense to pull some of that money back. Who's authorizing the spending of those taxpayer dollars at USAID? Is that congressional item by item? How does USAID get the authority to spend the money where they've been spending it?
Congress has the power of the purse, so usually that money is authorized through Congress. And keep in mind, I think where some of this waste is coming from that doesn't get talked about enough is that the U.S. government is funded on a CR right now. So essentially, they have been taking probably I forget the last time they actually negotiated a full budget, but they've just been extending the funding and kicking the can down the road consistently from them. One of the arguments that some Republicans will make against CRs like that is that you need to pass a full budget, or sometimes it's an omnibus, sometimes it's the appropriations process, because when you just continue funding the government at its current levels, then you're funding programs and funding parts of the government that might not exist anymore, or you're funding something that's expired or outdated. That's one argument you hear, but USAID is funded through Congress. Yes, all that money has to go through there, and that's where I think the arguments coming from Democrats is that, okay, you can go in there and you can cut this, but Congress has already appropriated this money, so it's illegal for you to go in there and try to make cuts when the law says you have to fund this through a date that's on the table right now.
So the way these dollars would be spent is it that USAID gets a lump sum of money? They say this is how much money they're going to get, and then the people within the agency say, okay, now we're going to put 25 million here, 50 million there, so that are we really questioning the judgment of USAID more in a particulars sense than we are the congressional total budget that has been appropriated to USAID?
I think it depends on who you ask. I think some people will say that top leadership has is off with its priorities when it comes to USAID. You may have some folks who say that Congress put a lot of things in there that they don't like. I think it just really depends on who you ask. But I think there's a bigger discussion here about how they go about doing this that Republicans are trying to have right now. Number one, you have the legality argument because they think that maybe Congress should be the ones that are in charge of implementing some of these Doge changes that they're trying to make. That would certainly make the legal fights a lot easier for Republicans. And I also think that there have been some who say maybe Elon Musk and Doge need to pump the brakes on some of these layoffs that they're doing. And the one example we keep hearing from both Republicans and Democrats is the USDA, Department of Agriculture, layoff of people who are working on the bird flu. And as you know, the chicken and the egg have become the most political items in the entire country right now because bird flu is one of the biggest contributors to inflation, causing the chicken shortages and the egg shortages we're seeing and the prices to skyrocket. So you have somebody like Susan Collins, a moderate Republican, not exactly a Trump loyalist, but she pretty much said they need to wait for some of these cabinet nominees to get into office first so they can take a more surgical approach, and then you avoid mistakes like that. That's maybe some of the criticism we're hearing from the Republicans on some of the things that Elon Musk is trying here.
And Ryan, before we let you go, when it comes to Doge, the money they're trying to claw back, the savings they're trying to acquire for the American taxpayer, I think it was Peter Doocy was asking at a press conference, Trump has suggested 20% in dividend payments. I think Elon suggests that. Donald Trump kind of blessed that when he was on Air Force One, 20% back to the American taxpayer, 20% to the debt, and then the 60% that remainder applied to the next fiscal year. Is that something that needs to be addressed during this current budget discussion that's taking place that hasn't been finalized yet? Or what's the implementation of whatever the result is of the money that comes back via Doge?
It sounds like the implementation of Doge and how they're going to codify some of the changes or some of the ideas they have is going to be through the reconciliation process, which will start if they get it passed this week. So that big if right there. They'll go and probably try to do some of that in April and have final passage sometime in May. That's the timeline Speaker Johnson actually just laid out to my colleague Guy Benson at the American First Prosperity Center over there just a couple minutes ago, really. Now, on the other hand, we do have a government funding deadline, which is a totally separate matter, scheduled for March 14th. Both sides have been trying to negotiate a top line number in order to fund the government. We don't know when that's going to be or what that number is going to be, but those are some of the discussions we have going on right now. And that's both sides. That's Republicans and Democrats negotiating that. I don't see any type of Doge reforms being put into that, though I could be proven wrong. But I think a lot of the Doge reforms that they're trying for are going to be focused on this April timeline and this May timeline that Speaker Johnson keeps alluding to.
Well, Ryan Schmelz, you've got your hands full there on Capitol Hill, and we're grateful that you share that with us here weekly on the Annie Fry Show. Thank you for the update, and we look forward to whatever we have to talk about next week. Thanks for being with us today.
Sounds good, Annie. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Ryan Schmelz, he's the Fox News Radio Capitol Hill correspondent. He's a White House correspondent as well. You know how, the colloquialism, it would take an act of Congress. You're like trying to figure out something simple in your life. You've got you're trying to figure out how to improve something at your church, or you're trying to figure out how to make something better in the at work, wherever you are. And they say, it would take an act of Congress to get that done. That means that it would be really, really hard. That's what that colloquialism means. And it's going to take an act of Congress to get all of these things done. It is not an easy thing to do. The Republicans did not earn enough seats in the House of Representatives to make it an easy thing to do. The work is cut out for them. Let's see how good they are at doing their job. And honestly, at the end of the day, probably how good Donald Trump is at putting the pressure on to get the job done. Great to talk to Ryan Schmelz once again. Quick break. Another Ryan back in studio with us with Wiggins America next. The Monday Roundup. He's got some stories that he's picked out over the weekend that you might have missed, and he'll lay them on us here on the Annie Fry Show when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Tammy Didamore, Zach, Pat, Abby, and Trisha, all these folks at the Didamore group, these, first of all, like I've said before about other clients I work with, great people, but also the very best when it comes to buying and selling real estate here in the listening area. If you are thinking about buying, it's warm outside right now. You might be thinking, it's 61 degrees according to here. This spring is right around the corner. It'll probably be freezing and snowing again before we get there. But once the spring mindset is in my head, that is all I think about until it's officially here. And that means that the real estate market is usually going to spice up a bit. You want to get that conversation started right now, and it does not cost you a thing to have that conversation with the Didamore Group at 618-531-4652. Put that in your phone for when you're available to call, 618-531-4652, and ask the Didamore Group how they can help you get the sale or find the home that you are looking for. They are wonderful at what they do. The #1 team and the #1 office in the Metro East. They have extensive access to information about the communities that they buy and sell in. They know the areas. They can help answer those questions, give you the heads up on, maybe you need to know this or maybe you didn't know that. The Didamore Group, they're the experts, and they can do both sides of the river as well. 618-531-4652, 618-531-4652. Reach out directly to them and tell them Annie sent you. Online at thedidamoregroup.com.
Did you all hear what's going on with these energy mandates? I've been told they don't make a lot of sense, and I'm in the business. I agree 100%. Actually, they make zero sense. So here's the easiest thing, and the only thing I have on a recommendation. You're going to need a new furnace or a new air conditioner. Just call me for a just common sense approach to your heating and cooling needs for your house. If your system is old or you just want to replace a system, now just call me. It's Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest and the only one, Missouri and Illinois, is 314-293-2600. Again, it's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it's bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
This is one of the shortest polls we've ever put out. YouTube live chat poll is just 2 words, grade Doge. Well, I guess Doge is an acronym, so maybe it's 5 words. A, B, C, D, or F, grade Doge. That is today's YouTube live chat poll. Let us know what you think. 1246. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Submit your favorite fish fry at 971talk.com/events. We're taking the show on the road every Friday during Lent, and we're looking for suggestions. It's Fish Fry Fridays on The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
This is The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Shake that body. Shake that body. Shake that body. People, don't you know it's about time. Can you hear the jamming?
Wiggins!
Oh! Monday roundup! This here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Technotronic.
Oh, I was just going to say, can you name the band? You read my mind.
Year?
1990.
89.
Ah, man, I was close.
The reason I looked it up is because I'm like, gosh, this is 90s music, but it really feels like it was a hangover from the 80s, and it turns out it was the late 80s. So.
Yeah, there was a lot of that, weird 3-4 years of dance music. It's its own thing.
Synthesized techno.
Yeah.
I had a techno CD. It was a compilation.
Did it have that on it?
Yeah, probably. I'm going to find it.
Does anybody remember, Ethan, you don't have to respond to this.
Thank you.
When Coca-Cola was giving away CDs in their 12-packs?
What's a CD?
Shut up.
Right. It was because CDs were brand new. This was probably 89-ish, and you could win a CD It was just a CD.
I don't know.
And I still have one.
I had cassette tapes. I think I had the Macarena on a cassette tape.
Ooh, wow.
But I think, I don't know, that would have been 97, 96 or 97. 96, I think. I don't know. Cassette tapes is what I did have famously on my Fisher-Price record player. 3 records, Annie the Musical, Sesame Street Live, and Thriller. Everything you need when you're 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Important stuff.
All right, this is the stuff that you missed from this weekend, and we'll start with the fact that Mark Cuban says he's not running for president. I'm sorry to tell you that, at least in 2028, I guess the door's still open past that, but Mark Cuban will not be on your ballot.
I don't even believe it.
Yeah.
He probably wants a powerful woman to run in his place.
He doesn't know any.
He wants somebody from The View.
He doesn't know one when he sees one.
He just puts his glasses on and becomes Rachel Maddow.
Is he married?
I have no idea.
Google.
He says he's going to focus on, in his words, blanking up healthcare.
Oh.
As in messing it up, but he's working in healthcare. I don't know what that means, but
He is married.
that is his focus.
He's pretty.
He's going to focus on making money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Instead of running for president, I'm going to focus on doing what I'm already doing. You know what else stinks? I also announced I would not be running in 2028. Politico did not even write a story on it.
I missed that.
Yeah.
What was that Friday when I
That
wasn't
was,
here?
yeah, it was Friday.
That's what I get for missing.
I was after the show Friday. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you hold like a press conference? Anything?
No.
Just
He was in his office.
in your
at his
office.
desk.
You just announced it from your office.
I
No
walked
one was
in to
there.
I walked in to ask him a question. He's like, "I would like to make an announcement. Thank you for joining me." And then he just
Yeah, I will not be running.
Okay.
And I sent a copy of that to Politico. They didn't even run it.
Mm.
Next one is, let's actually go to some more politics here because this one is a stupid story. About the Eagles. I guess you've already seen that the Eagles have decided they would not accept the invitation from the White House to come and shake hands with the president because of being Super Bowl winners.
Thought we were past this.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So the White House and the Eagles have officially declined to comment, but they went back to comments that they were making before the Super Bowl. And one of the team's owners said, quote, "We focus on the game for now, but if we win the Super Bowl, we wouldn't go to the White House." The U.S.
He
Sun
just wanted
quoted.
credit for not going to the White House when he didn't win.
Yeah, and now they're not going. And a current player at the time, well, I guess this is actually more recent, remained anonymous but told that same publication, U.S. Sun, that pretty much everyone decided they would refuse a Trump invite. Here's why I brought this article up. Listen to these quotes. Quote, "We represent a city and a state that is pushing for equal rights.
And Trump.
Respect and values.
And won the election for Trump.
That respect every human being.
Just send Scott Pressler instead.
We won't forget what happened and the criticism we received for taking a stand against racism. And we won't back down from our values of respect, integrity, and equality."
Huge fan of people showing us how stupid they are so we can just know and move on.
I wonder if that's actually true, if the team actually, or if it was just...
None of them are going to be like, "Not me, MAGA man, let's go." Nobody's going to do that.
No.
You're never going to know. Some loudmouths. Maybe it's just the president of the thing that's like, "We're not going, just so you know."
Well, this was some player, but the U.S. Sun said we won't quote who you are. But then one of the owners apparently was on the record before the Super Bowl. So there you go.
Losers!
Even though they won. I spent nearly $20 on a single strawberry, and apparently it's the best tasting in the entire world. This is a viral trend. I don't know if you saw that this weekend.
Yeah, by Big Strawberry.
You did see this then.
No, I didn't.
And you're wrong. They weren't that big of strawberries.
No,
but they
Big
were.
Strawberry.
I know what they mean. I know. $20, $19 for one strawberry. They're being packaged in these little, like they look like cake trays with the little cover on them, and they sit on the tray, and they're $19, and you can buy one.
What do you want them to do in the tray?
I don't know.
Float?
Dance a little bit.
For $20, heck
if it was
yeah.
a jumping bean, and moving all over the
Put on a
place.
show.
Yeah, exactly. Now I clicked on this because I'm like, oh, let's see what's all the hubbub about these strawberries I'm seeing online lately. Well, apparently they are from the exact place where I was going to tell my anecdote from.
Your what?
The best strawberry I ever had.
Your antidote or your anecdote?
Anecdote. Did I say anecdote?
You did.
I think you did.
Close. Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Maybe these strawberries are healing.
Maybe.
Antidote. Go on.
The strawberry that I was going to reference is from Japan. I had one strawberry while I was there last year. It was the best strawberry I ever ate in my life.
Did you spend $20 on it?
I did not. They just came in a package just like regular strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
What made it the best?
I really want to know.
Did someone tell you these are the best strawberries? And
No.
then you-
They just served it. We were with our friends. They just served some strawberries with dinner. I ate one. And I'm like, holy smokes. That is amazing. That strawberry.
It's probably red number 5.
Apparently they grow them there in Japan, so there's not a lot of chemicals, so they're pretty fresh. That's first of all. Second, they have that volcanic soil, and apparently it makes them very, very fertile for certain fruits. Strawberries is one of them.
I have a feeling that you, Ryan Wiggins, would be impressionable if I went and got a package of Ruler Food strawberries and pre-packaged one of them and said, this is a $20 strawberry grown in Japanese volcanic ash, and it's a delicacy. I bet I could get you to give a pretty good review.
Watered by the tears of a unicorn.
I would do that, but that is not how it was presented to me. So I think that my palate is pretty discerning, and we all know that I love talking about food. Real quick, here's when you're going to lose an hour of sleep. Does anybody know when daylight saving? It's not gone. First of all, that's the news. Daylight saving's
March
still
9th.
here, and it's coming up pretty soon.
Sunday, March 9th. Saturday, Sunday, March 9th.
That is correct.
Next story. Wait, so is this
moving on?
Is this where we gain an hour or lose an hour?
Lose
an hour. Sunday, March 9th.
Sad face.
Yeah. Terrible. I printed out an article that said exactly what was already in Annie Fry's head.
That's the second time
I
that
wrote
this has
that article.
happened in this segment.
Wait a minute. USA Today, Annie Fry.
You know how I love to write articles on daylight savings time. I can't get enough of it.
It's like twice a year.
I wait all year for this.
It's one of the best gigs you can get.
I know.
You only got to write 2 articles in an entire year.
Yeah, it's my job.
You get a correspondent title.
It's really all I do.
That's what you lead with on your resume.
A little inside information. That's the state basketball tournament weekend.
Ah.
So I'll be out of town. And we will have to be at a basketball tournament in a hotel with all these kids out there, and we lose an hour's sleep.
That's terrible.
Oh, man.
That is bad.
I don't know if we'll be playing on Sunday, but we'll.
Good luck, soldier.
We're hoping for the best.
Yeah. All right.
That's why I know.
Well, thank you for the update. And
you got another minute.
Okay, I'm going to do one more then. Alligators.
Do you hear
in
the music? Did he signal you a minute?
Alligators in the sewer myth is true. If you've ever wondered if there could be alligators that could come up your toilet, well, I don't know if they'd fit in the toilet, but they are in the sewer.
You know, the sewer is more than just your toilet.
Yeah, but don't you worry about that? Don't people talk about the snakes and stuff? They
I
are.
am not worried about an alligator in my toilet, but now maybe I should.
A work crew in Oviedo, Florida, proved the New York City urban legend was a Sunshine State reality. Gee whiz. After discovering a 5-foot gator residing in the sewers.
I think that the number one thing keeping me out of moving to Florida is the reptilian wildlife.
Yeah. The number one thing that keeps me out of sewers is the reptilian life.
Really?
I believe that's number one on the list.
I figured you'd be able to overcome that.
That's not the number one thing. I can tell you what number 2 is.
It's the number, it's number 1 and
nice.
2, yeah.
But you'll have to stick around for that. Steve Moore on the Annie Fry Show next. And we're going to speak with Illinois State Rep David Freese at 1:25. Looking forward to that conversation as well. Don't go away.
After almost 30 years, Lacefield Music is closing their location at South County Mall forever, and everything must go. Hi, this is Kathy from Lacefield Music, and lack of mall traffic has forced Lacefield Music to make this very difficult decision. But what an incredible opportunity for anyone who is searching for a piano. Save big on Yamaha pianos, keyboards, Lowry organs, and all the top brands of pianos. Also, up to 80% off sheet music and accessories during our South County Mall closing sale. All the pianos are at rock bottom prices. Many pianos are one of a kind, but once they're gone, they're gone. Oh, and don't worry, our Chesterfield location is here to stay and will remain open to serve all of your musical needs. Rush in today before the South County store closes for good and take advantage of massive discounts. South County, we thank you for all the years of support and great memories. Remember, Chesterfield will remain open for all of your piano and musical needs.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Want to retire in 5 years or less? You can do it, just like Lifestyles Unlimited member Lisa.
So we started passively. It was on vacation is when we realized we really need to take the plunge and be more active in this. Just because I'm an educator, I wanted to really know what I was doing. So it was just education on my part is really big. And I'm like, well, I could do that.
Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297, a 60% savings. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Special friends in the Oval Office. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump and the French president emphasizing their relationship despite European concerns about U.S. peace talks with Russia on ending the war in Ukraine.
And I think the U.S. and France always stand on the same side, the right side, I would say, of history. And this is exactly what's at stake today.
President Macron says Europe is willing to step up and do more for defense of the continent and that some European countries would be ready to have peacekeepers in Ukraine as a security guarantee after a peace treaty is signed, but not to send peacekeepers to the front line. President Trump says Russia's President Putin would accept European peacekeepers in Ukraine.
Look, if we do this deal, he's not looking for more war. He doesn't mind, but I've specifically asked him that question. He has no problem with it.
President Trump also says it appears the U.S. is getting close to a deal for access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. Ukraine wants future security guarantees as part of any agreement. The president also telling reporters a mass email to federal workers demanding they list accomplishments or risk being fired is great.
If you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist.
Echoing Elon Musk's suggestion, the email was necessary to find federal workers who aren't working. That email prompting another union lawsuit against the Department of Government Efficiency's tactics. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he remains confident a budget resolution will pass, though some Republicans remain concerned about the framework.
They'll get there. We're going to get everybody there. This is a prayer request. Just pray this through for us because it is very high stakes, and everybody knows that.
Johnson speaking at a forum in D.C. The Senate passed a partial Trump agenda last week instead of a single bill. The Vatican says Pope Francis remains in critical condition but has showed slight improvement in some lab testing. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Through our Monday afternoon, lots of sunshine, 62 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 42 for the overnight low. Tuesday, sunny right back to 62. Clouds on Tuesday night, 44. Wednesday, mix of clouds and sunshine. Some very light rain showers developing Wednesday afternoon. It's not much, 59. Only slightly cooler on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
Could you make $500,000 in retirement savings feel like $1 million? Or $1 million feel like $2 million? The key is having a comprehensive financial plan for taxes, Social Security, inflation, healthcare, income, and more. Discover how you could make money go a lot further in retirement in a 3-hour adult education class, Retirement Planning 101. Guys, it's Dave Glover from KMOX. This one-night class is taught by a fiduciary advisor from Financial and Tax Architects with decades of financial planning experience. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. There's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. If you've saved $300,000 or more for retirement, register by calling 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110. If, like me, you haven't quite had the pedal to the metal the way you should, or if you've had the pedal to the metal the entire time, either way, give us a call. We can help you out. We'll take you wherever you are. 314-350-8110. 314-350-8110 for Financial and Tax Architects.
97.1 FM Talk presents Talk in Action, where we shine a spotlight on local charities making a difference in our community. Join us as we give back and connect neighbors in need. Visit 971talk.com/talkinaction to learn more.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Here's an update on the latest from Apple. If you are just joining us, some news about 1 hour and 20 minutes ago that Apple will hire 20,000 new workers and produce AI servers in the United States. The company planning to spend $500 billion domestically over the next 4 years, including work on a new server manufacturing facility in Houston and additional spending with its existing suppliers. What does this mean relative to what we've already heard over the last several years from Apple? Mark Gurman, our star reporter here at Bloomberg, saying that Apple is going from investing $86 billion a year to $125 in the US, and from hiring 4,000 R&D employees a year to 5,000 based on its prior 5-year commitments compared to the new 4-year commitment announced this morning.
So there you have a Bloomberg report on the news coming out of Apple and a new investment in the United States. And I'll just tell you that the lower third on this Bloomberg report says Apple under threat from Trump tariffs will add 20,000 U.S. jobs. Let's get to our economic expert. Our friend Steve Moore joins us once again, Distinguished Fellow in Economics at the Heritage Foundation, also a Trump economic advisor. Steve, welcome back to the show. Happy Monday.
Hi, Annie. Good to be with you. Thanks so much for having me. And that is great news about 20,000 new high-paying technology jobs here in the United States. I think it's the start of something big.
Well, I know that Steve Moore is a free trade guy. I get that. We've heard that from you many times. But the Donald Trump economic plan in motion does seem to, we've seen, week after week, people say we're going to invest billions of dollars back into the United States. What does that do for the economy when people start coming to America?
Well, this has been really the secret of the success of the American economy for the last 40 years since Reagan was president, is that so much investment from around the world comes to the United States because we are the best place to invest in. And when you have a president who is, going to deregulate, going to cut taxes on our businesses, get better trade deals, that incentivizes businesses to move here. And, it's exciting that now we have businesses moving into the United States rather than leaving the United States, and I'm excited about this. The other, obviously, big news here in Washington, D.C., I'm in the swamp, is that, there is this order from Elon for everybody to go back to work, all the federal employees.
Yeah.
And if you can't name 5 things you did that were productive in the previous week, you may not have a job this week. So it's about time we put some restraints on this outrageous federal octopus of our federal bureaucracy, which is, 2 million workers. A lot of them can't even say what they do. And it's about time we rein in this kind of arrogant civil service system that's really self-serving and not serving the American public.
Steve Moore speaking with us right now. One of the things I heard Elon say and other people report on regarding his efforts to say, hey, send us an email, list 5 things you do, is that they suspect that there are people who may be on the payroll who don't even check their email and maybe aren't actually doing any work. And if you don't get an email back from some of these employees, that might be a great way to weed them out.
Well, have you heard about this software that moves your mouse for you on your computer so it looks like? So I think a lot of federal employees are using that so they can be out on the tennis court or the golf course, and then the employer, sees their mouse moving on their computer screen. They think, oh, they're at work. So this is going to be this kind of back to work order, I think, is long overdue. How many times have we talked about this over the last 2 years that, less than 20% of the federal employees have been showing up full time, on the job. And so there's going to be, we need to dramatically reduce the federal workforce. And I don't like to see people lose their jobs. I don't. I've lost my job, and, that's always a traumatic experience. But we have way, way too many people working in the federal bureaucracy. And we want more private sector jobs and less government jobs. And so some people are going to lose their jobs. And by the way, they're getting a sweet deal, Annie. They're getting 8 months severance pay. 8 months. Who gets that in the private sector?
No, that's unheard of, really. I mean,
unheard of. Yes, exactly. It's unheard of. I mean, most people maybe get, if you've got a generous employer, you may get 3 months, maybe 6 months. A lot of them you get, 4 weeks. And so 8 months plus, as soon as that 8 months is up, they get federal retirement benefits, which are much sweeter than what people get in the private sector. I think a lot of private sector workers are angry that their paychecks go to people who are in similar jobs but get paid much more than they do, both in salary and benefits.
Yeah, I think that's completely right. And I think that people are paying more attention now than ever to where their tax dollars go. And a lot of that has to do, of course, with Doge. I've got the debt clock pulled up here right now, Steve Moore, for people who are watching us on our YouTube channel.
I'm afraid to ask, what are we at now?
On the debt? $36.5 trillion.
$36.5 trillion.
Yes. And the Doge clock, which they've added there, is up to $132 billion, because that's part of this clock right now.
In savings.
Yeah. I've never.
You know what? I can't wait for those clocks to intersect so that with the savings actually exceed the debt.
Yeah. And from what I understand, the savings that it's going to take a minute, but the savings that are coming in through Doge Can you explain that they've discussed the possibility of a 20% dividend to the taxpayer, 20% of the savings that goes to the debt, and then Steve Miller said last week at a press conference that the other 60% would be applied to, I guess, the next year's budget. In your mind, when you see this Doge clock ticking up over $132 billion right now, it goes up 100,000 about every 2 seconds. What do you make of all of this money that's being clawed back by Elon Musk and his team? What should happen?
Well, about time. I've been waiting for this moment for 40 years. And, I have to say that Trump is doing something that, John F. Kennedy was not able to do, that Ronald Reagan wasn't able to do. Bill Clinton, remember reinventing government? Remember that?
Yeah.
All of these things were going to rein in the federal bureaucracy. And even great presidents failed at doing that because we have a massive government self-serving bureaucracy under the civil service system where it's impossible. By the way, it's almost impossible to fire someone from the federal government. Did you know that?
Yeah.
It's almost impossible until Trump came into town. And that's why they're so indignant. How dare you, fire me? I have a lifetime tenure. Nobody except teachers unions and government employee unions get those kind of lifetime benefits. We all, you and I could be fired at the hot drop of a hat, right? If we don't do our job. And so now they have to live under the same rules that people in the private sector do, and they're going, I got to tell you, people are running around this town like their hair is on fire. Oh, my God, we have to show up for work. Oh, my God, we have to actually prove we do something that's efficient and effective and pro-taxpayer. So I'm very pleased about this. I cannot understand why. You've got to explain this to me, Amy. Annie. Why is it that the left, these people like Elizabeth Warren and AOC and Chucky Schumer, they're going crazy. They're defending waste in government. I don't get that. If you believe in big government, wouldn't you be against wasting money?
Yeah, unless they're benefiting from it. I mean, that's the alarm.
Exactly.
That's the alarm
Thank
bell that
you.
goes off for me. It makes me want to look a little bit closer.
Yes. I think you just, I just think you pinned the tail right on that donkey. So I mean,
well said.
You're exactly right because they are the beneficiaries of the waste, and a lot of that money goes right into the coffers of the unions, of the special interest groups. You saw what happened with the $20 billion, not 20 million, 20 billion. I mentioned this last week on your show that went out weeks before the Trump people could come in, so they rushed it out of the gates. It all went to these climate action network left-wing groups that then actually we found out that some of this money was actually used to run ads against Donald Trump, which is illegal.
Right. Of course. One last question before we let you go. Steve Moore speaking with us right now. I noticed that you posted on your X account a Forbes article, and it's questioning the Republicans' focus on making sure that those tax cuts become permanent. And there's one other thing I want to highlight from this article and just give you the floor to talk about it. It's like the fifth paragraph says, some Republicans are getting lost in theatrical displays of fiscal virtue, demanding massive spending cuts without specifics. But then it goes on to say they're missing the lesson of post-World War II America. We tackled a debt to GDP ratio even higher than today's through economic growth. And I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak to those permanent tax cuts and what economic growth will do to our economy.
So you're exactly right that you've had so much delay in passing this tax cut, and it's got to be done. Or else, are you ready for this? Are you sitting down,
I am.
Annie? If we don't get this done, the American people will face the largest tax increase in American history over 10 years at $4.5 trillion tax increase on the American people. And not just rich people, everybody is going to get hit. The average family in America is going to pay $3,000 more in taxes. It's going to be much more complicated. You're going to have to itemize your deductions again. We're bringing back the alternative minimum tax. Twice as many families will be hit by the unfair death tax. I mean, I could go on and on about how sinister this would be. I don't understand why Democrats would want to raise $4.5 trillion in taxes. I mean, does that make sense?
No, but when I hear tax cuts, I often think, okay, well, how are we going to pay for everything? The other part of that is that the economic growth that this country will experience is going to provide.
There you go. We know that from what happened when Reagan cut taxes. We know that what happened when Trump cut taxes. The economy exploded with growth. I mean, people forget. Remember how good the economy was in 2019 before COVID hit?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like one of the best economies ever. So this is going to work. But I think the one thing that could destroy the Republican Party and do great damage to our country, and that's the more important thing, is not to get this tax cut done. I am frustrated with my friends in the Senate who are taking too long to get this done. They just passed a budget resolution last week. You may have followed this. There's no tax cut in that bill, and they actually increased spending.
Ugh, that's probably why Rand Paul voted against it, I would think.
There you go. If Rand Paul's voting against something, it's probably a bad bill. That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah. Steve Moore, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you. We look forward to having you back again next week.
Thank you, Annie.
Take care. Bye-bye. Senior Visiting Fellow for Economics at the Heritage Foundation. Everyone's like, since Donald Trump's taken the oath of office and he's been the president, we're all sitting around and high-fiving all of the time, all over the place. And we're like, yeah, we won, victory. And I'm sitting here along with Steve Moore, and then I'm reading this article Steve Forbes wrote on Forbes.com, and it's explaining it in a way that even I can economically understand. Republicans in Congress, get to it. Get it done. This isn't hard.
Thank you.
Get it done.
What the heck? Like, don't just be like, well, we're going to trim a little bit this year because we have a mandate. No, you have an actual mandate to reform everything.
And if I would have had, I'd never want to be disrespectful of Steve Moore's time. They usually tell us he's got 10 minutes and he's a national figure and he usually squeezes us in Fox News hits. So I always want to be respectful of his time. But in the event that you pass a budget and you cut, and you invest in, you've got people like Apple, like we just talked in. That was a story that you had teed up for Wiggins America too. This investment that Apple is making is significant in the United States, but Apple's not the only one doing it. There's a ton of different places that are doing this. The investment, again, in this Forbes article, it talks about tackling the debt to GDP ratio that was higher than today's debt to ratio post-World War II, that through economic growth, not austerity, the ratio fell from debt to GDP, the ratio post-World War II fell from 121% after the war to 35% by the early 1970s because assets grew faster than liabilities.
That's
so that's
cool.
a massive, I am not an economist in any way, shape, or form. I require us to have any sort of fiscal economic experts on the show because when I ask questions, a lot of times when I ask questions, especially if it's politics, I pretty much know the answer. I know what they should say. They don't always say it, but I usually have a pretty good idea of what the answer is before I ask it. When it comes to the economy, I don't. When it comes to having Andy McCarthy and Greg Jarrett and our legal experts on the show, I don't know the legal answers because I'm not a lawyer. I don't know these things, and we're grateful to have access to these people who do have the answers. But when I see that, and then I'm thinking, like, well, obviously, you're going to cut taxes. You're going to let the American people invest in themselves instead of trying to turn the money over to a overly bloated United States government that doesn't really care about the American taxpayer at the end. Obviously, we're seeing evidence of that over and over and over again right now through Doge. Get them back to the place where, guys, we have to fund the bare minimum. We don't have the funds to be sending condoms to Zimbabwe or wherever it was that we were, Mozambique. We don't have those funds available to us. We have to fortify our military. That's the basic stuff. Why can't we cut? Can't Congress always vote to appropriate more money if necessary?
As far as I understand it, they can.
They pass a spending bill. They do it for Ukraine.
Well, you
need to send $30-50 billion more to Ukraine because they really need it.
That's true. That's
we pass
true.
it.
Yeah, you pass an appropriations.
So if you find out you need to send more money to education, to agriculture, to whatever it is, and it's really for the people, then it should pass.
And Ryan Schmelz told us last week that this bill would only get you through September. So do what you need to do now and just readdress it in September if you don't like something.
Republicans, go all the way for the end zone. You have to score now. You cannot wait. Do not punt. Now is the time to get the job done to the extent with which Republicans, how many times you say, well, why didn't you do it? Why didn't Joe Biden get stuff done? If Democrats thought it was so good, why didn't he do it in his first 2 years when he had Congress and he had the Oval Office? They should have gotten it done then and they didn't. And then they whine him like, Republicans won't work with us. Well, get that ish done right now while you have the Congress and the Oval Office in the first 2 years of Donald Trump's presidency. Get it done. Stop messing around. And for the people who are holding out saying, oh, no, we need more cuts, figure it out. And listen to what Donald Trump is saying. He's the one you have to follow. He's the one with the mandate. And if it doesn't go far enough because Trump didn't push far enough, then that'll be on him. But you got to get it done.
I didn't know that the Senate cut nothing. I've been watching the House version, and they're all big fiscal conservatives. We cut $2 trillion from the budget. Yeah, over 10 years. You're $2 trillion shy this year. So you're cutting, what, 10% of the deficit? Not the budget, just the deficit. It's crazy how little they're cutting.
Steve Forbes says in this article, too, and this is an article that we got off Steve Moore's X profile, so you can go check it out there. The current House debate over reconciliation bills, whether to do one or two, misses the point entirely. While they argue over 10-year scoring numbers and budget parameters, they're wasting precious time that could be used to boost economic growth. Going back to the previous paragraph, when we're talking about the economic growth of the United States, reviving the country post-World War II, the focus should be on lowering marginal tax rates, the rates you pay on your next dollar earned, which directly impacts economic incentives. I don't know this. Steve Forbes guy, does he know anything?
He has a magazine. He hosted Saturday Night Live once.
Have you ever been on a magazine? Have you ever been in a magazine?
The ones at Six Flags.
And break.
They only cost like $12 back in the day. I don't know what they'd be now.
Probably $62. Illinois State Representative Dave Freese, you're going to like this one. Your Republican Southern Illinois State Representative David Freese, tied for first for best David Freese in the area, maybe?
I agree.
When he says that he has introduced legislation to repeal Illinois' FOID card requirement. Let's talk to him about that when we come back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
AirComfortService.com is the website. Hot, cold, that's the time of year we're in here in the middle of the country. We know that we can get all 4 seasons in 1 week. You are here on the weather timeline. You need to make sure that your whole HVAC system is working appropriately, especially if I'm talking to you and you're at work. And you know that there are some things that aren't really working so well when the winter sets itself aside and it starts to get into those hot summer months, and you know your AC was on its last leg last year. Did you know that Air Comfort Service also can help you with commercial repairs? They're the best in the area, and they are a phone call away. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. Corey Malone and his team at Air Comfort Service are the best at what they do, and they can help you make sure that your HVAC system is running appropriately. Call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation and get a free second opinion on a heat exchanger or compressor repair. They've provided residential and commercial heating and cooling services for over 50 years in St. Louis, and you can trust your place of business and your residents, of course, in the hands of the fine people at Air Comfort Service. 314-513-0091, online at aircomfortservice.com.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino, go Rhino. Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mark Cox here. Are you looking for the perfect start to your child's education? At Kirk Day School, the early childhood program for ages 3 and 4 is where your little one will learn to thrive. They have hands-on activities, nurturing teachers, and a biblical worldview. You can attend their early childhood open house Friday, March 7th, meet the dedicated educators, and tour their Christ-centered classrooms. To register for their early childhood open house and learn more, visit kirkdayschool.org.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 55 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Monday afternoon, some on the left are calling it a constitutional crisis, but Kimberly Strassel from the Wall Street Journal calls it Trump's constitutional cleanup, and she'll join me at 3:25.
Weekdays from 3 to 6. This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
He was a hard-headed man. He was brutally handsome. She was charmingly pretty. She held him up and he held her for ransom in the heart of the cold, cold city. He had a nasty reputation as a cruel
And
dude.
once again, I think this is the third time Illinois' firearm owner ID, the FOID card, has been declared unconstitutional and wrong by a court. There's some nuances here, but the big question is, do you think Illinois lawmakers will do anything?
So that's a huge question. The FOID card, it's something, if you live in the state of Illinois and you have ever had to buy ammunition, you need a FOID card. So a lot of you listening right now do have it. You know you need to have it, and you hate it. You hate everything about it. I'm one of those people. Sounds like maybe Illinois State Representative David Freese is another one of those individuals, because David Freese, Illinois State Representative in the 116th District, has introduced a bill that would repeal the FOID card requirement. And we're speaking right now with Representative David Freese on the show. Thank you for being here, Representative. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
Well,
and yeah, I hate the FOID card.
that is a sentiment, I'm sure, from a lot of your constituents in Southern Illinoisans. They're very frustrated by it. Let's just take it all the way to the beginning. What is the FOID card? Why is it necessary? And why are you trying to eliminate the requirement?
So it's mandated by the state legislature, and you need a firearm identification card, which means that you have to have that card just to possess a gun or ammunition. Personally, Second Amendment, you got a right to bear arms. I don't think that we need it. I don't think it's a requirement. I know there's been litigation over this issue, and my hope is that they actually find it unconstitutional. I should not have to have Second Amendment plus is the way I look at it.
That's a really good way of putting it. I know there was a recent court case, and the details, I hope I get the details correctly, but somebody had a firearm in their house. I think that maybe there was a marriage that was a separation or something, and it turned out that the court ruled that they didn't need to have a FOID card to have the firearm in their house in the state of Illinois. But you're saying it's the Second Amendment plus. What is in order to get a FOID card, you got to get it from the state of Illinois. What's the process that they filter you through in order to say, yes, Annie, you can have a FOID card?
But you got to go fill out the paperwork. It goes to the state police. They run a background check on you. You check all the right boxes, make sure you're not a convicted felon, don't have a domestic battery against you. And then then the state police gives you their blessing that says, yes, you can now have this identification, which gives you the legal right to purchase a firearm or ammunition.
Okay. So, I'm a partner here with STS Armory, and they're in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, and I've bought firearms from them before. I have my FOID card. My recollection is that when I go to purchase a firearm, that I got to wait a little bit in order to get it, depending on the kind of firearm that I've purchased. What happens in that time? Well, of course, I've always had to show them my FOID card. So I show them that I have this qualification from the state of Illinois, but then I have to wait. What's happening in that waiting period before I'm able to purchase and acquire that firearm?
But it's a good question. So here's what I know. You go fill out paperwork to purchase that firearm, and they should be able to run a background check on you immediately. I know there's a waiting period because I think part of the reasoning for that is they don't want somebody to get in an argument with their spouse, and they don't have a firearm. Now they're going to go out and buy a firearm and shoot their spouse because they're mad at him or her. So I think there's this cooling off period. But my understanding, you go, it doesn't matter if you go to an FFL, you go to Walmart, Bass Pro, you fill out the paperwork, they can run that check on you right there. So there's no reason for any waiting period. There's no reason for a FOID card. It needs to go away.
So you're telling me that the FOID card runs a background check on you, and then you go to get a gun and they run a background check on you. So it's not like the absence of the FOID card means that they're just going to be handing out guns willy-nilly to everybody.
No. And again, I'm not sure. I've had a FOID card for quite a while. I honestly, I don't know when this was implemented, what the rationale was behind it at that time. But I think most people in the state of Illinois, if you own a firearm, we're done.
Yeah, I agree. So it is. I think you calling it Second Amendment Plus is a good way to look at it. There got to be Democrats in the state of Illinois. I know there are Democrats listening to the show right now who are in the state of Illinois who think the FOID card is dumb. What kind of support do you expect to have on this legislation? Will it get a vote? Could you get bipartisan support?
It probably will not. So here's what I've learned. I still consider myself a relatively newbie to the General Assembly. There's legislations that individual Democrats may support, but they will never get on a bill, support a bill, because what would happen if they did, it would go against leadership, and then they're going to get primary. So, you line up with a Democrat may line up with leadership 9 times out of 10, but if you step out of line, you're going to get primary.
So in the 112th district, which is the district I used to be in, and for some reason they drew a circle around my house and booted me out of the 112th, where Katie Stewart is the representative. She's a Democrat in a very purple Madison County area right here in the listenership. I imagine there's a lot of people in the 112th right now who think that the FOID card is unconstitutional. They don't like it, and they would want to see it go away. But you're telling me that Katie Stewart, a Democrat in the 112th district, is going to listen to leadership and not her constituents on this issue?
I mean, I can't speak for Katie on this particular issue, but I know that legislation as a whole, that's the way it's viewed in Springfield. Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And you should be able to, vote for a bill, support a bill, because that's what your constituents want. But again, if you step out of line, you don't toe the line, you will get a primary.
That's frustrating. I guess if people are listening right now, they should reach out to their representatives and tell them to support your bill. Maybe join on to your bill and work to Republican or Democrat alike. Anybody who's in the listening area right now in the state of Illinois, if you'd like to see the FOID card be repealed, Illinois State Representative David Freese is trying to lead that charge. And I'm sure you would take Republicans and Democrats alike if they wanted to help sponsor and get this thing through.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You get on ILGA and you can file witness slips in support of it. Not only this bill, but any legislation. And witness slips carry some weight. So I would encourage everybody to do it. If you hear a bill coming down and you're like, hey, I want to support that, get on the ILGA website and file a witness slip. Absolutely.
That's a good piece of advice. We're speaking with Illinois State Representative David Freese, and I'm interested in hearing your thoughts as well on the budget process. Governor Pritzker came to Springfield, called Donald Trump Hitler, essentially.
Yep.
Didn't want to support the Nazi agenda, wants to make sure that he clearly states that the people of Illinois that are not citizens will be protected and funded by the taxpayers of the state of Illinois. And yet it seems as though we have a budget shortfall. What were your thoughts on what Governor Pritzker, when he gave that address to the General Assembly? What did you take away from that?
So first of all, I was absolutely amazed because leading up to the budget address, we were $3.2 billion in the red. We get there and we listen, and the day before, lo and behold, well, now it's a balanced budget. So everybody's like, well, how the hell does this happen? It's I don't know if you would call it accounting gimmicks or whatever, because your budget, my budget, the household budget, we don't spend money that we don't make. Okay, and we bank, money and we save. Government budgets are done on projections. Well, they anticipate they're going to make X amount of money, or they don't make it, they actually take it from us. So they're going to take X amount of money from us so they can spend that. Well, if there's downturns in the economy or the revenue isn't there, they still spend it, it seems like. And then what they end up doing is they end up raising our taxes or service fees or something. Revenue enhancements is a new phrase, what they want to use in Springfield now.
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch. My understanding is that the Illinois government has never taken more money than they're taking right now from the Illinois taxpayer. The burden is very high.
$55 billion.
$55 billion coming out of our pockets here in a state tax burden that we have, and it's a shortfall, and we're funding things that a lot of Illinoisans don't support. I also understand, we're speaking right now with Illinois State Representative David Freese. I previously said 116th District. Your new district is the 115th, so my apologies for that. My understanding is that the progressive income tax is a suggestion that's being thrown back out there for consideration. The state voted it down once before, but now they're suggesting maybe we move to that progressive income tax. What can you tell us about that?
Well, that's always a topic of discussion. They want to, quote, tax the rich. I don't know about you, but I've never worked for a poor person. So I don't have a problem with people making money. I don't have a problem with people being rich. It doesn't make you happy, but we shouldn't punish them either, because those are our employers. They own our businesses. They run our economy. They really do. And what happens in our state is because of the burdensome tax regulation, business regulations, people go, look, I'm going to move my business to Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, because you have less regulation and you have a lower tax burden. There's a reason why people are leaving our state, and that is it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I hope that Illinoisans, the ones who are left in the state, compared to the last time that this was a vote that was on a statewide ballot, I hope that people are paying attention to it. J.B. Pritzker does not have the Illinois taxpayer in mind when he is governing the state. He spends his time in Chicago. He doesn't understand what anybody south of I-80. I don't even know if he cares outside of Cook County, because he can win the re-election for governor as a non-term limited position in the state of Illinois by winning Cook County strong enough. I'm wondering what your sentiment is, Representative Freese, when you talk to people. Of course, you're in Southern Illinois here in the 115th District, but people are seeing what Donald Trump is doing. People are seeing what Elon Musk is doing on a national level. And J.B. Pritzker has put himself out there to be kind of the number one. He'd like to be the number one go-to opposition for what Trump stands for. Do you feel as though people in the state of Illinois are maybe considering now more than they have before that the Democrat J.B. Pritzker supermajority of Democrats in the General Assembly way is not the right way for Illinoisans?
I feel a change. I don't know if it's big enough tide change to make a difference, but so I was looking at actually some numbers over the weekend. Clinton won by 17% in Illinois. Biden won by 17%. Kamala Harris only won by 11%. Okay, so that gap narrowed, and I think that the funding of all this stuff for illegal immigration, that has really made a large part of the Democrat core base just infuriated. I mean, they're mad as hell. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
So my hope is that we can now we've got to be proactive. We can't just sit back and expect them to come to us. We've got to go out and we've got to recruit those individuals and say, hey, look, you've been voting Democrat for this election, that election. Come to the Republican Party. This is what we can do for you as Republicans to support you in your mission. I mean, I don't care what color your skin is. What do you want? You want safe neighborhoods. You want good schools, and you want honest days wages for honest days, work. So let's advocate for that, and let's put policies in place that support those individuals.
Is the Illinois Republican Party in a position right now? Are they capable of conveying that message, a very concise, targeted, specific message to Illinois voters across the state that they are a reasonable alternative to the status quo?
That's a great question. I think there are some of us that are. I know I personally have been advocating people within our leadership to say, hey, look, we have got to do something. Kevin Schmidt, he works East St. Louis. We've got to have other people doing that in the city of Chicago. We've actually met with some Black leaders up there. And again, all this sprung up, I think what they're calling theirs is, Turn Chicago Red. They've got an organization. We've met with some of them. And we have got to not just meet with them once and then move on. We've got to be supportive. And again, financially, what do we have to offer? It may not be much, like Pritzker can self-fund himself if he wanted to run for president. It's really hard to compete with that. But there's a lot to be said for pounding the pavement and knocking on doors.
Yeah, and we don't have there's no other choice. We can't compete with J.B. Pritzker's money.
No.
But we can compete with his policy, his lack of scruples, his unwillingness to advocate for the taxpayer in the state of Illinois, and his advocacy for things that are oppositional to the majority of voters. We can advocate for that, and we can fight like hell to beat him. And you are absolutely right that it is a worthy cause. I like you talking about the Turn Chicago Red. I've contacted those people. We're in communication with them, and I wonder if they'd have any interest in coming down to St. Louis just for a bit to go around Southern Illinois to see if they could have any influence with us. I'd love to have that.
Yeah, I think they would. My understanding, they actually met with Terry Bryant, Senator Bryant. I think they're willing to meet with anybody, really. We just can't sit back and do nothing. We've got to work at this.
Yeah. Well, you're helping lead that charge here from Southern Illinois, Representative Freese, and we're thankful for your voice here, and we're pulling for you on this FOID card thing. People do need to go fill out those witness slips and contact your state representative, Republican or Democrat alike. Make sure today that they hear you say, if you're their constituent, Representative Freese wants to repeal the FOID card, and I want you to support them. I want you to support that effort. I want you to support David Freese. Reach out to your representative and make sure that they hear that. Thanks for being with us today to let us know more about what your efforts are trying to achieve.
My pleasure, and I love your show. I got it on every day at the office.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that as well. Let's see what we can do together. What do you think about that?
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you so much. Illinois State Representative David Freese. He represents Illinois' 115th district. There's a little bit of advantage, and I say little bit, which is to say more than none, to being a super minority underdog. Try whatever you can. There's nothing to lose because you're already as low as it could possibly get. The Illinois Republicans are in such a disparate hole when it comes to power and influence that they have. Now is the time to go big. Go big, fail big, succeed big. You got constituents that are listening right now in the state of Illinois. If you've got a business, if you've got a residence in the state of Illinois, your voice better be heard because your voice is going to be bigger than the super minority of Republicans in the General Assembly right now. Rattle the cage.
Yeah, the message, and I don't want to say of Republicans, but just the message of whatever Democrats is doing isn't working. It is breaking through right now. It's the machine. You're up against a machine. This thing is well funded. It's very entrenched, but that message is breaking through. So what happens federally? Will people be able to see? Oh wow, I want some of that in Illinois. I don't know. Hopefully that does start to happen. But I am encouraged that people that you wouldn't think are hearing the message and going, "Dang, that really resonates with me."
Yeah, I'm gonna text Kevin Schmidt on the break. He talked about doing that coffee talk with his constituents in East St. Louis during the election, and I was like, I would like to go do that with you. He's like, sure, come. I'm going to schedule it.
Good.
Quick break. When we come back, more Annie Fry Show. Let's do a little chat on the YouTube live chat poll. Grade Doge. How are you feeling about it? Do you give him an A, like super high fives all around, complete success so far? A B/C, passing grade, but maybe some room for improvement. Barely passing with a D, or an F. Annie Fry YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AnnieFry. Find the live chat and the live broadcast and vote. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Have you ever been sitting around or driving like you're probably doing right now? Man, I think I need a new furnace or an air conditioner. Have you? I mean, I think about you thinking about it all the time. Regardless of what's going on right now with the economy and with these mandates and the prices going absolutely crazy, I would have to say, without a question, the best time to buy is actually right now. No gimmicks, no tricks. 5 years, no interest on a furnace and air conditioner. Get your prices, get your quotes, get your monthly payments, and then call me and buy now to where you can make your choice and you can still get the so-called inefficient models. Call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, and your only number, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. Now that is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars. Lose the weight and stop smoking. Early bird specials, $49.99. Seminar Sunday, March 16th, Aviator Hotel and Suites, South I-55, St. Louis. Weight loss, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Or Monday, March 17th, 4 Point Sheraton, St. Louis. Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight loss, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m.
It's time again for the annual Apache Village RV Trade Day. Hook up your camper and join us Friday, February 28th and Saturday, March 1st in Hazelwood at 1901 Dunn Road or Wentzville at 971 Wilmer Road for a kids' s'more bar, warm drinks, and free trade evaluation. We guarantee $1,000 over the national average with purchase of any new RV. Your trade will never be worth more than it is today. Up to 25% off MSRP. Prices will never be better. Spring camping is right around the corner. Check out all of our new 2025 Jayco, Keystone, Fleetwood, and Bontrager Outdoors inventory. Mention this 97.1 ad for a chance at $500 to our parts store. Our commitment to you starts when you enter the door. Again, we guarantee $1,000 over the national average with purchase of any new RV. Your trade will never be worth more than it is today. Go one better. Go Apache Village RV in Hazelwood and in Wentzville, February 28th and March 1st. Trade value dependent on condition of unit and time of delivery.
The YouTube live chat poll today is an easy one. Well, sort of, I guess. It's grade Doge, A, B, C, D, or F. You find that poll by typing in Annie Fry on YouTube, and today's date will come up along with the live stream. We encourage you to tune into the live stream and participate in the conversation. 150. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Their parent gave everything for our nation, but when support fades, who stands with them? Join the precious legacy at Rhythm and Brews Fest on March 8th in St. Charles. Learn more at 971talk.com/talkinaction.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. The YouTube live chat poll for today, grade Doge. We got a standard grading philosophy here on the Annie Fry Show, which is you're passing, you're failing, you're somewhere in between, and we're bound by YouTube's you only get 4 options vote rule, which is really what it's all about.
Yeah, so we put B and C together.
B
always,
and C.
Always.
I mean, what's a B?
I don't know. You could put DF together too, though.
No.
Because
Don't
DF is like, you're below the line.
D is like, I found 1 grain of resolve.
Fair.
You want to give someone an F. If you want to give someone an F, you want to give them an F.
Oh,
you don't want to
give.
you don't want to give them the benefit of a D/F.
You know what?
F. Stamp it in red ink.
I'm going to alter my position here.
Okay.
You could make a case
I'm here to
for
persuade.
CD instead of BC being 1. Because you're right. If you want to go big, you want to go A, you want to go F. I got you.
What kind of grades did you get in school?
A's, mostly.
Is
Satisfactory.
Yeah.
EHs?
Yeah.
Satisfactory.
Mostly A's.
Mostly A's? How'd you feel when you got a B?
I didn't love it, but the older I got, the less I cared.
How'd you feel when you got a C?
Then I cared because I didn't get many of them.
Yeah, I think my final high school GPA was a 3.75, and it was all confusing because I went my freshman year to the Lutheran high school, then I went my sophomore year to the public high school, and then I missed the Lutheran high school, so I went back to it my junior and senior years. And the public high school had a 5-point scale, and the Lutheran high school did not.
Yeah,
there were like hundredths of points that set people aside when you took honors classes and everything.
Right.
So I felt like a 3.75 getting out of there was fine. And ironically, at the end of my senior year of high school, in order to graduate with honors, because the courses that I took at the public school at the time didn't transfer over the same way to qualify for honors or whatever, in order to graduate my high school career with honors, I would have had to take Honors Chemistry 2. And it was offered the same hour as journalism. And I wanted to go into journalism. And I wanted to run the fastest I could possibly run away from chemistry.
Me too.
It was, I remember the teacher at the time saying, if you do the work in her class, if you do the work and you understand it and you can explain that you understand it, you're probably going to get an A. If you do the work and you don't really understand it, but you show up and you turn everything in, you're going to get a B. If you don't try, you're getting an F. It was like A, B, or F. I definitely got a B. I was all about the B in that class and was very happy to not have to fail because I didn't understand any of it. Plus, I took chemistry at a different school, so it wasn't even in the same vein. But my dad told me, because I was stressed about it. I wanted to graduate with honors. I had the GPA to do it, but I needed to be able to have the honors credit because I didn't get any that translated for my sophomore year. My dad goes, Annie, if you want to wear another cord around your neck at graduation, I'll buy you one. Take journalism.
Good move.
And I remember hearing him say that and shattering that expectation that I had put upon myself, that this is what everybody wants me to do. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And I remember my dad being like, you want to go to school for communications, take journalism. And I was the editor of the school newspaper. We had the yearbook in there. I didn't do as much of that because I was in charge of the newspaper, but it was maybe the most fulfilling class I took in high school was journalism, just to be able to do that. And what a smart move. And when you after graduation is over and you didn't have that cord around your neck,
who cares? Yeah,
nobody
really.
cares.
Nobody cares.
When was the last time I mentioned my GPA in my life?
I can't even remember what my GPA was in high school. And I remember caring a lot at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, of course you cared.
Now, in college, I remember that I was 100th of a percentage point away from graduating cum laude.
Yeah,
but
me too.
But I only remember it because of the 100th percentage point.
I got a B in personalized shape up. I was so pissed at that teacher.
Oh man,
he was like a not a teacher's assistant, whatever you were, like a grad student,
mm-hmm.
and this was his first class that he had ever taught, personalized shape up. I was mailing it in, people, but not in effort. I had personalized shape up, basketball, and media law in the summer. So I was engrossed in media law, and I studied the heck. I got an A in media law, but I got a B in personalized shape up. This guy hit the first test that he gave this class. We had 55 people in this class. I got a C on that first test, and I might have set the curve.
Wow.
He was going hardcore, and everyone was like, what the hell is going on here? It's personalized shape up. You're supposed to go work out, essentially. It's a kinesiology class. You're just doing this to pass time, and it's for people who want to maybe teach PE or be in physical therapy, that track. And then there's the media people who are like, I need 1 credit. And I got a B in that class, and it kept me from graduating cum laude, just like you.
Journalism, also my favorite subject, excuse me, in high school.
Really?
I did not.
You and I are the same, Ryan.
Yeah, it's true. But I was not the editor of the newspaper, as you were. Yeah. I did have my own page, though.
I bet you did.
It was called the comedy page.
How'd you come up with that?
It was funny.
Oh, okay.
I would make up fake horoscopes for people.
Anyway, grade Doge. We'll discuss that when we come back. And I have a question I need to ask Ryan Wiggins on the air about a very important interaction you had this weekend.
Oh, really?
That I found out about. I'm going to have to grill you on that when we come back. Don't go away.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-668-6655. That's 800-668-6655. Again, that's 800-668-6655.
And a lot of people, when they come in, they'll say, I'm usually much more active, but since I've been in pain, I've had to limit the activities I'm doing.
You're listening to Janelle, an arch support specialist at the Good Feet store.
So he came in and he wanted to be able to keep up play sports with his kids. And from there, we figure out which arch supports complement those activities. I fit him with the arch supports, and as I followed up with him, he's messaged me and said, I took my kids to the park today. We're walking, we're exercising, riding the bikes, and those are all things that he wasn't doing before because he was in pain.
For over 25 years, the Good Feet store's arch support specialists have been helping folks to live the life they love without foot, knee, hip, or back pain getting in the way.
Our goal is to have that long-term change for them. That's what's most important, is knowing that you leave an impact on someone's life. And I like that.
Try them for yourself. Stop in for a free personalized fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Visit one of our 2 locations, Creve Coeur and Shiloh, Illinois, and at goodfeet.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Hope for an end to war in Ukraine. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News, as President Trump meets with the French leader 3 years since Russia invaded Ukraine.
Sitting alongside French President Emmanuel Macron, President Trump predicts the war in Ukraine could end in weeks.
If we're smart. If we're not smart, it'll keep going and we'll keep losing young, beautiful people that shouldn't be dying.
Macron is visiting President Trump as the administration negotiates with Russia on a peace proposal and with Ukraine about access to the country's rare earth minerals.
With the Ukrainians, I think I can say that we're very close.
Macron says France is prepared to provide troops to serve as peacekeepers once the war ends.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. President Trump also says Russia's President Putin would accept European peacekeepers in Ukraine, telling reporters he personally asked Putin about that. Elon Musk getting a vote of confidence from his boss, President Trump, after demanding in a mass email that federal workers list recent accomplishments at work or risk losing their jobs.
There was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. And so we're sending a letter to people. Please tell us what you did last week. If people don't respond, it's very possible that there is no such person or they're not working.
Fox Business's Hillary Vaughn on Capitol Hill.
Musk says he's already received a large number of responses and says those people should be considered for a promotion. Other Democrats say a CEO would never ask their workers to do this.
The Musk email prompting another legal challenge from unions representing federal workers. Meantime, a federal judge in Maryland siding with unions in a separate lawsuit, issuing a temporary restraining order blocking the Department of Government Efficiency from accessing financial data related to student loans, though other judges have allowed Doge access to some education records, possibly setting up a Supreme Court showdown. America is listening to Fox News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare information guide absolutely free. Call 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331. 800-939-1331.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Through our Monday afternoon, lots of sunshine, 62 for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, 42 for the overnight low. Tuesday, sunny right back to 62. Clouds on Tuesday night, 44. Wednesday, mix of clouds and sunshine. Some very light rain showers developing Wednesday afternoon. It's not much, 59. Only slightly cooler on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Reign St. Louis West has the best memberships in the St. Louis area. Mark Cox here. Members shoot for free at the range anytime. They get free rental for the latest firearms, from pistols to shotguns to rifles. You can make reservations online at no cost. 5% off all firearms, 10% off all ammo, and 15% off standard training classes. Get your membership today. The Range St. Louis West, 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin, or TheRangeSTL.com.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership. So a partner means that we're in this together, and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business is ready for a free IT evaluation, contact ThrottleNet.com to find out how we can support your IT everything.
99 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors for savvy homeowners. Since 1926, they are the only authorized dealer of Overhead Door brand products in the city. Always look for the iconic red ribbon to be sure you're dealing with the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. For same-day garage door repair 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis or schedule online overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com. If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Looking for SLU men's basketball? You found it right here this weekend on 97.1. Tune in for the Billikens game at 3. Pre-game starting at 2:45. SLU versus Loyola. We're hosting the Billikens game for you right here this Saturday.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. The YouTube live chat poll is grade Doge. We were talking a little bit about the grading scale just before we took that break here. A, B/C, D, or F. Ryan Wiggins, when you think of Doge and you're the teacher and you get your big red ink pen out, what grade are you putting on the top of the Doge term paper?
I do not hesitate to put an A on that paper because they are doing awesome. They're thinking outside the box. I think what we have to do as people who are in favor of this is try to be patient, because this is going to take some time. They're going to throw every roadblock possible down, and yet, big picture, they're not stopping. This is the Snowpiercer train. They're just going to keep going right through any ice.
The what?
The Snowpiercer train.
What is that a reference to?
Snowpiercer, the movie.
such.
Thank you, Brad.
I know the movie.
Thank
I
you.
just don't know that anyone else does.
It's a non-stop train. It does not stop no matter what gets in front of it, and that's Doge. And so we're just going to watch them keep barreling through all this stuff. And we're a month in, and then they've already done a lot. They're going to continue to do a lot, and Trump is keeping the pedal down. So,
well, this is completely shocking, but Ilhan Omar disagrees with you.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
Wow.
Well,
Well,
I wonder how she feels.
Never mind. I changed my vote.
A+.
You know what? We should invite her on the show to have an intellectual debate about it.
She can come on the show.
Okay, great. Can I be a part of that? Because I would really like to just ask a couple questions.
We should book her, and then I'll take that day off.
That'd be great. I'd do that. Because she just wants to have an intellectual conversation about cutting the cost of government, and apparently everybody she talks to is just complete idiots and doesn't get her.
I don't get marrying your brother.
I don't get that either. I wouldn't do it, and I have a brother.
Jeez.
I have a brother. Oh.
So it's not even hypothetical.
Would you marry my brother?
I don't know. Your brother's a cool guy, maybe.
Did he play for the football team? Wasn't he the quarterback?
When Ilhan Omar is just saying, the reason Donald Trump won is because we've successfully dumbed down America enough, I just feel like that's even more indication that we're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an indefensible position. Actually, past one layer.
She's not arguing policy.
No.
She's just like, they're real stupid. And there's enough of them that he got elected.
And we keep seeing this argument. This is the mainstream talking point of the weekend. It'll change, I'm sure, which is think of the people and their jobs. And you're like, I will. And I have. And I feel sorry for them losing their jobs. Not the ones who weren't doing any work, but the ones who were doing hard work. I feel bad for them. After that, then immediately after that one level, I start to think of all the other levels of how an economy works and how government work is just siphoning off money from other places. And immediately the argument becomes back to the original point, which is government should be small. Like, it's really easy.
Well, I can see why Ilhan Omar wants you to be stupid or looked at as stupid, because that's very detrimental to the Ilhan Omar way of doing business. I would like to see Ilhan Omar in the same room as Tom Homan. Here's him at CPAC.
Let me start out by saying this. If I offend anybody today, I don't give a don't care. The media in the back room, I'm sure I'll be reading a lot of hit pieces on me tomorrow. I don't give a what you think about me. I get asked all the time, does it bother you? There's a big part of this country that hates your guts. I don't care. I don't care.
And it shows. That seems pretty legit. The way he handles his business is an IDGAF way of handling business. And it's funny to hear him go out there and say, yeah, I know you hate me. It fuels me.
I'm really glad that he specifically said to the media, because I think that CPAC probably was in support of him.
I wake up every day for the last 4 years off because the Biden administration took the most secure border in my lifetime and unsecured it on purpose, right? I worked for 6 presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan. Every president I ever worked for took steps to secure the border. Even Clinton and Obama took steps to secure the border because they clearly understood you can't have national security without border security. They got it. Joe Biden's the first president in history of the nation who came into office and unsecured the border on purpose. So for 4 years, I wake up every day off. That changed November 5th. Now I wake up every day excited because I work for the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald J. Trump.
I've not really ever heard rally mode for Tom Homan, but I like it.
I haven't either. I like it, and I really think that if you had a good writer, not a hateful writer, a good comedy writer on Saturday Night Live, they could skewer him in a fantastic way.
How?
Because he's such a character. You know, he's kind of got that slur. He's got a coat. You know, his coat's kind of thrown around like he's Chris Farley a
Like
little
he
bit.
doesn't give a crap.
Yeah. He would be a great character.
I don't think you can turn him into a character. I don't think you can turn him into a character that is funny.
That's why you need a good writer, not a hateful one.
Because what he's doing is pretty intense.
Sure.
In the midst of everything that is going on with this administration, you said you're an emphatic A with Doge. Brad, your thoughts on the grade that you would give Doge at this current point in time?
Yeah, I think I give them an emphatic A as well. They're just doing what they need to do, and it almost seems like they're about to push through the media, like the media is about to realize all of our outrage, all of our bluster about Elon Musk isn't really moving the needle, and they're going to move on. And then Doge is really going to be able to do some stuff because there won't be the people standing out in front of the Department of Education and be like, you can't come in here and all this other stuff. I think that they're doing great. Go in there, root it out, get rid of it. It's going to hurt, but it's going to be like a Band-Aid. Just pull it off quick, and we'll get through it because it's something that we have to do for the good of the country.
Let us know what your vote is on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat. We've got a lot of comments coming in. Ryan, why don't you look through some of these comments here that have been starred, and you can feature some of these comments. We always appreciate getting your votes, of course, for the live chat poll, but it's nice when we can also include your thoughts on it by commenting on the YouTube live chat. Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell us some of the thoughts from our listeners?
Sure. From Vicky, it says that she gives Doge a BC. Too soon for an A, but headed in that direction. David says there was no A selection, so I had A plus selection, so I had to settle for just an A. Joe says Doge is hitting the target. Since Friday, my IG feed is nothing but Democrat anti-Doge target boycott videos. Meta has weighed in, and they are with the Dem money train. So he's saying there's been pushback from the algorithm now. Jackie says, cut and then repair. Doge gets an A from me. The work they've done within 30 days is more than I could ask for.
Jackie makes an important point. We've talked about this quite a bit, but it should be readdressed every single time we're discussing, like, oh, talk to us about the progress. It's been a month. It's been 1 month. And we've been able to see so much progress, so many promises made, promises kept, regarding what Donald Trump said he was going to do. Like, how have they been able to be so successful so quickly on following through? It's been an amazing thing to watch. Donald Trump speaking at CPAC this weekend, another amazing thing to watch. I love listening to him say here, I couldn't stand it.
I'll tell you, I had 4 years. I don't know if you had this. I couldn't stand it. Don't get angry. Donald, don't get angry, please. I couldn't stand it. Watching these people come in from jails and mental institutions and the worst criminals in the street, gang members being dropped off in buses and bussed into our country. I couldn't stand it. So I said, I'm going to run for president again. And now we don't have that problem. Now we don't have that problem anymore.
Isn't it great to hear him throw the emotion behind and pull back the curtain a little bit on what he was dealing with as the guy on the bench? Not even really on the bench. They took his uniform away. He was unable to participate. He knew all the plays. He knew what was going on. He knew what the opposition was doing, and he was relegated. And for him to talk about, like, it is something that the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris team would have loved to have said, I bet Donald Trump can't stand what's going on right now. That would have felt like a win for them. And he's admitting that he couldn't stand it. He couldn't stand sitting idly by, watching what was happening to this country to the point where he's like, fine, I have to run again.
That's why he resonates, because everybody was feeling this. And most politicians, it's not that they're disingenuous. It's just that they're not willing to let go and say, this really, really Can I say peed me off? I can't remember if that's FCC or not.
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay. Peed me off.
Well, I don't know. It depends on the context. It's not that kind of show.
But he lets go. And he says, look, I was really mad. And you can tell that he's not just performing. Like, he's mad because we were mad because we couldn't do anything about the country being overrun by socialists.
Yep. And he went on.
On our first day in office, we declared a national emergency at our southern border. After years of politicians using our military to defend foreign borders while leaving our country defenseless and helpless, we deployed a group of people, active duty troops, to defend our border and repel the invasion of our country. This was an invasion. You know, we had a great first term, a really great first term, and I called it an invasion. And we had great numbers, but now we have the best numbers we've ever had. We've never had numbers like this. We've done it all in 4 weeks. Think of it. That was Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, the whole group. On day one, I ended the catch and release. I reinstated remain in Mexico when I signed an order that will end birthright citizenship for the children of illegal aliens.
So he spoke to a lot of the things at CPAC that were very important to him on the campaign and promises that he made. And it's just wild to me that a month in, he can talk about things they've already done to follow through on that.
That's amazing.
He doesn't even have his whole cabinet and everything confirmed yet, and he's already putting points on the board in a measurable, verifiable way to the people who voted for him. One of the other things that is incredibly interesting that developed over the course of this weekend is his latest appointment. This is from Donald Trump's Truth Social. Great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our country, has just been named the next deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best ever director, Kash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology from CUNY and an MBA from Penn State. He was a member of the New York Police Department, New York's finest, a highly respected special agent with the United States Secret Service, and is now one of the most successful podcasters in the country, something he is willing and prepared to give up in order to serve. Working with our great new United States Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and Director Patel, fairness, justice, law, and order will be brought back to America, and quickly. Congratulations, Dan. The contortions that the Elon Omars of the world are going to have to put themselves through in order to get through the day are comforting to me. Because if the furthest to the left among the Democratic Party are apoplectic about this, then I feel like it's the right way.
We started by reading comments. This one just came in. I want to read this from Steve.
Yeah.
It says, this happens in the private sector every year.
Yeah.
I work for a large company on the other side of the airport locally. In the fall, they laid off 10% of the workforce across the board. I think there's a big shoulder. Like,
yeah,
I'm implying here that he's going, yes, this is what happens.
This is what happens.
And he says they get an
A. The private sector is the Thunderdome. It is rough. I've said this to you folks listening right now many times. I work in radio. We work in radio. We are a bottom line entity to the people who run this company, and we're very well aware of it. I've got to give you everything I have every day because I don't know, one of these days, it's going to be done. And then I'll have to go find someone else who wants to take us on or try to do it myself. We work really hard to be as available on this show everywhere that we possibly can. It's a lot of work and a lot of effort to try to make sure that we're reaching out through all of our social media capacities to try to develop relationships with you, because we know we have to be nimble, and we know that we, specifically on the Annie Fry Show, and I spent 9 years as the digital brand manager of 97.1 before I got this show, working hard on making a digital brand for the station. That position doesn't exist anymore. If I were still in that position, I'd be doing marketing and digital stuff for somebody else. Through the grace of God, I've been able to have this platform for 7 years, going on 7 years here, and I feel very passionate about it, and I have to put in not what they ask of me. I have to put in everything I have to it, so that it is a top product. I don't get to mail it in. I can, but only for the period of time that they don't notice. Everybody in the private sector, in every industry, is always looking to cut and trim fat. We all know what that's like. We've never been insulated from that. And in fact, just because you get cut doesn't mean, it might mean that you were wildly productive to the point where you just cost too much and they decided they'd cut their losses anyway. Everybody who works in the private sector understands this reality. When people say get a good government job, what are they talking about? Security.
Yeah.
Stability. Because as we heard from Steve Moore at 105, it's hard to get fired from a government job. That doesn't mean that if you work for the government that you're providing no service. That doesn't mean that if you work for the government you're not valuable. That doesn't mean if you're paid by tax dollars that you're a leech. We need all sorts of people who are funded by the taxpayer dollars. And I can think of lawyers, or not lawyers. I can think of law enforcement. I can think of lawyers to an extent that they're publicly funded. That's not entirely wrong. Law enforcement, people who are, caring for the public in that regard, educators to provide that education so you have an educated public. These are all people who we need. People who maintain roads so that you can get to and from your job safely. Just to say you're working a government job in no way, shape, or form implies that you're not earning the dollar that you put in your checking account. But to think that those individuals should be pulled out of having to be vetted and assessed over the course of time, you shouldn't just be able to land the government job and never be able to lose your job. Why are you going to do a good job? With automatic raises that often get, we always hear about when government jobs, when all of a sudden they put in a hiring freeze or a pay raise freeze. We always hear about that when it happens to government jobs. You want to talk about a pay raise? Like a predictable pay raise? I don't know people in radio who have ever enjoyed, by virtue of the calendar year has passed, you just get the cost of living increase.
That's not most jobs. I mean, maybe if you work for a really big company that's been successful for a very long time and they've implemented that. But I've worked for rapidly expanding companies. I've worked for rapidly contracting companies, sometimes the same company, in multiple different eras of my life. And one thing in common is you never really know. You learn to live. I'm sure everybody who's listening to this gets this. You learn to live with that uncertainty. In the government, they have never had that uncertainty.
Heidi says on here, hello, or oops, wrong one. Sure, layoffs happen, but the celebratory attitude by everyone is really discouraging. Still give them a B or a C. So she's implying that, people who are like dunking on, yeah, that's right, let them go, fire them. I think that there probably is some truth to what Heidi is saying here in forgetting the humanity of the people who are actually involved, who have become the frog in the pot over the course of time, that don't realize that their understanding of employment and existence in the business world is not the lived experience of everyone else. So maybe there's some public joy that is being communicated that is less than thoughtful. And I guess the difference there is the personal human connection that is not there anymore. And I would blame in large part the government's ability to have successfully disconnected us from our taxpayer dollars and where they get spent. So Heidi, I again blame big government at the end of the day there. Quick break. When we come back, we'll get some more of your thoughts on this discussion. Plus, an interaction that took place this weekend that involves Ryan Wiggins that I heard about and has me highly concerned. And we haven't talked about it yet, but I thought that it would be best to do it publicly on the air.
I was too going to bring this up because I'm concerned.
We'll discuss when we come back.
She be standing next to me.
This is The Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Stewart's American Mortgage is the home of the bagel loan, and you just got to call him directly or text him directly. This number that I give you each time I talk to you about the bagel loan, is Stewie's personal cell phone number. It's on his phone. You reach out to him, call or text, and you're going to get to ask some of those questions about making your mortgage situation the absolute best possible situation for you. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. That's the direct line into Stewie. Stewart's American Mortgage has been helping people exactly like you and me improve our mortgage situation through the bagel loan. So you're buying a house and you want to make sure that you have the best mortgage situation. You're going to get the low rates you're going to get from anywhere else. Whatever you qualify for. Stewie's going to help you with that. But when you use the bagel loan and Stewart's American Mortgage, you pay $0 in closing costs. That's where the magic happens. That's where the savings happens. This is thousands of dollars that stay in your pocket and don't go into the abyss when you're making this big purchase of a new home. You can also refi with a bagel loan as well. Get a lower rate, get some cash out, do whatever you need to do, shorten your term with the bagel loan and Stewart's American Mortgage. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsLHonorFlight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Odyssey.com is a universe of audio, and it's where you can download the app to stream 97.1 FM Talk. The Odyssey app. Download it today and stream anytime from anywhere.
Where St. Louis comes to talk.
97.1 FM Talk. This is the Annie Fry Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. YouTube live chat poll on the Annie Fry YouTube channel, youtube.com/@AnnieFry. Go vote and tell us your grade for Doge. A, B/C, D, or F. Let us know how you think that they are doing. We'll get to some of your comments before we wrap it up with the results, probably with Ethan in about 20 minutes from now. I was talking to my parents this weekend.
That's interesting. Me too.
That's the problem. I was not there to supervise said engagement. Maybe you should tell me what you were doing spending time with my mom and my dad. I know how you and my dad have this, like, really proud son thing going on.
I've told you this before, but I don't like talking about it a lot because it embarrasses you. But you're
by virtue of what change? I don't think so.
Look, your parents and I, we get along really well.
Mm.
And so sometimes, I shouldn't even say sometimes, a lot, we hang out. And I think the last time we talked about this maybe was right before Christmas because we were talking about our Christmas plans that you weren't there. So not at your guys' family Christmas, just like hangouts. And this was one of those. I didn't know that they would go report this to you because this is the kind of thing that
it just kind of came up.
I genuinely try to keep from you. But yeah, we were just watching a little b-ball this weekend, hanging out,
Shooting
relaxing,
b-ball outside of school.
relaxing, all cool.
Yeah, you know my mom and dad.
Yeah.
They're
big Will
super
Smith fans.
hip to the beat. What did you talk about with my parents?
I don't know, just politics a little
Life.
bit, life. Yeah, we talked about our kids. I mean, it's just the typical stuff.
You talked about
The kids. Yeah.
Did they talk about their kids?
Yeah. Not you, but other kids, grandkids. You know, I didn't talk about my grandkids because I'm too young and vibrant, but.
Unlike them?
No, they're very vibrant. I'm just young and vibrant. They're older than me.
Go on. I'm trying to screw up your relationship.
No, don't.
So you're saying they're old.
No, they're older than me and wiser.
And stale?
So I seek them out.
You said they were old and stale?
I seek them out for sage wisdom, which both of them have.
Who? My mom or my dad?
Both of them. Sometimes I'll ask, I'll just throw out a question, for instance. I'll say, what genus is this plant?
And my dad says,
I don't ever know, and your mom will usually answer that question.
Green.
Yeah. And then I'll say, how long was the War of 1812? And your dad answers. Just stuff. Just stuff that comes up, And it's just great to have that kind of relationship with the generation above you. And I do put them above me, if you were asking. I sent you a picture in your email.
I saw it.
Did you?
I'm debating sharing it.
You can if you want to. I look kind of fat in it, but that's okay.
I'll share it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. Just kidding.
I'm wearing a hoodie. It's kind of pouched out.
So I'm just gonna put it up here on the live stream like this. My brother's back there too.
Yeah. I didn't talk as much to him because I wasn't sitting right
Well, he
next
doesn't
to him.
like you.
No?
No. He doesn't like the way you treat me.
Really? No, I don't think that's true.
I think he loves it.
I think he probably likes me more.
I think he's paying you.
Yeah. Well, he was sitting on the other side of them, so I didn't talk to him as much. But it was funny because we were just there hanging out, and my kids were going to get chips, and we were just like living life. I can't tell you there was anything super interesting that happened, but I'm not going to tell you every story about when I go out with my guy friends either, because sometimes you're just hanging out, and that's what we were doing. So there's nothing really to report. I wasn't going to report on it, but
Your son was playing my nephew at upward basketball.
Yep, they were guarding each other in the first period.
My dad said that your son has a move down pat.
He's got one move.
It's the classic upward 8 or 9 year old. How old are they?
7.
7-year-old. Classic 7-year-old upward. I remember this because Charlie played upward. You get the ball somewhere near the basket, and you just start dribbling backwards.
Yep, with your butt out.
Until you get to close to the basket, and they said he's very good at just turning around and making that little shot.
Yeah, I don't think he made a whole bunch, but he's good at I don't think this is a planned move. That's what's funny about it.
He knows
just
to
start
go to the
dribbling
basket.
And then realize, oh, no, if I dribble out in front of myself, they're going to steal it. So he just turns around. And then he just starts walking backwards until he gets close enough to the basket.
Yeah.
Or the wave of people like the Red Sea just starts to kind of collapse around him. And then he realizes, oh, I gotten far enough. Now I have to turn and shoot. So he's gotten I think he had 1 or 2 baskets.
The way I understood it, my brother was like, is that Ryan Wiggins sitting next to you? And so I wonder what kind of obnoxious thing you did to like tip their radar. I didn't get to ask that question. Did you know you were next to them? Because weren't you literally sitting next to each other at this game?
Yes. Like nobody between us.
Like next to
right
each other.
next to each other.
Just by happenstance.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty funny. And then your mom turns and goes, hey. And it took me about a second and a half.
Hey.
Oh. Hey.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
How far into the game, into the event were you, percentage-wise?
It was still either right before or during the first period. It was.
So you got to spend the whole
very
game
beginning.
together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you talk?
Yeah, we had a good time. Again,
You've made that part clear.
we talked about gardening.
No, you didn't.
We talked about history.
See, what else do you know about my parents? You've made that part clear, too.
We
You
talked
said
about
Genus
Christmas.
in the War of 1812. What else do you know about my parents?
We talked about Lutheran doctrine. Like extensively.
I'm surprised that
Which
you're
was
not
weird 'cause
still
it was
there
in a,
talking.
it was in a Baptist church.
Yeah, I know. It's
So-
the best place to talk about Lutheran doctrine, if you ask me.
We did talk a little bit about chips. Yeah, because my kids were
Like computer or
no,
Doritos?
No, Dorito.
Oh.
Well, not Dorito. I think they were the little veggie fries, actually. So.
Gross.
I know. We did talk a little bit about that. Gosh, what didn't we talk about is probably a better question.
All right. Well, I'm happy that you had that time together.
Yeah, me too. But
all-
it's just hanging out.
I think you guys also played each other in baseball once.
If that's true, that was when I saw you at a baseball game, though, at a t-ball game.
I don't remember seeing you. Did I?
I don't know if you saw me, but I
Was
saw
it in
you.
Maryville?
Yeah, I was in Maryville,
Okay.
and I remember. I thought I waved at you.
Seeing people out in the wild. Do you behave differently at your kids' games because you're afraid people will recognize you and associate Dad Ryan Wiggins with whatever this is?
No, no,
It's
I
all
don't.
the same?
It's all the same.
Do people hear your voice and recognize your voice?
Once in a while, but if
What's the immediate reaction?
That's why I
after that?
yell more at games, because when I yell, I sound different. I don't yell on the radio that much. But if I'm at a game, I can yell like, "Get your act together!"
I think you're going to say something else. Especially at Upward, those Baptists. Do you yell at your 7-year-old's Upward basketball game? I'm gonna ask for verification, so don't lie.
I yell when one thing happens, if he scores.
And what do you do? What's it look like?
I yell, "About time." No, I think I just cheer. We just cheer, like there's only a few baskets a game that he's going to score. I think he scored 4 or 5 one game. That was like, wow, that was unbelievable. Usually it's 1 or 2. And so when he scores, assuming he does score, it's like, oh my gosh, in the full hour that we're here to watch, that was the moment, and we all cheer.
I am outlining, I'm thinking about writing a book, and I'm going to write it about youth sports and about parents in youth sports. And I'm going to highlight all the different kinds of parents that people can be. And I think the interesting thing about it is that one individual person can be 5 or 6 different kinds of parents, depending on the circumstances. How would you define yourself? What's the leading factor for Ryan Wiggins, dad, fan? Have you ever coached?
Yeah, but I don't think I was the head coach.
You don't think?
Well, I wasn't technically the head coach, but the head coach didn't do much, so.
So you weren't the head coach?
I wasn't.
So you undermined him?
I was just trying to help.
That's the line. What?
It was a she.
So what? How would you define yourself as a parent of a youth, a student athlete? And you can include your older son who plays more competitively than 7-year-old Upward basketball.
I would describe myself as a drinker.
Oh.
Because it's a good time, Like we show up, you party a little bit, have a couple drinks, and you go home.
I've never seen you have a couple drinks. You have a couple sips and it's enough.
Yeah, that's why it's a good time.
That's also why that's not true. How would you define yourself?
I don't even know.
You don't know?
What are the classifications that you're going to put in your book?
Are you collected? Are you calm? Do you find yourself having to tell yourself to tone it down a little bit?
I used to. Anymore, I don't as much. I used to have to tell myself,
You had to grow into it.
chill out. Yeah. Because when I remember watching that first game, man, I was like, I can't believe what came over me as a parent. I didn't know that I had that in me because I was so excited to watch my son play soccer.
Yeah.
And so then it grew into like ultra competitiveness that I was like, whoa, I got to chill out a little bit. I've never been thrown out of a game or anything, but I used to bark from the sidelines once in a while, not usually at the refs, usually at something else that was going on. I remember the one time that I really got chastised by a ref was that there was a bunch of kids playing on a field next to ours, and they were practicing, and they just kept kicking the ball into our game over and over and over. Like after once or twice, you'd think, well, you just move or do something.
Just kick it away.
No, I didn't do anything. I finally yelled out like something about you guys need to move or something like that. And the ref pointed at me and he's like, you need to chill. And I'm like, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you, ref. You are telling them that. So that was the one time that I was like, I just don't even like these stupid interactions. People are all hyped up.
People are super hyped up.
So I try to chill out, but I'm still pretty competitive.
Yeah. I think it's I've got a whole lot to say about youth sports. As per our conversations here on the air, I've talked a lot about it, but Upward is about as good as it gets for introduction to sports for kids.
What did your parents think about our hangout?
They were excited to see you, and I didn't really ask them for much more details.
They weren't supposed to tell you. Do you know that? I told them, don't tell Annie.
You were going to tell me on the air?
I was going to tell you today. I was going to send you that picture and just be like, look what I was doing this weekend.
Did you tell my brother that? Maybe my brother's the one who told me.
I didn't tell him.
Maybe he's the one who told me.
He probably did.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to the results of today's YouTube live chat poll, A, B/C, D, or F. What's your grade for Doge? We want to hear from you. We'll read some of those comments as well. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
And you jerk it out.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
CiviaLaw.com. If you're looking to take care of some estate planning, you need to know and have a person in your corner who absolutely knows how to thoroughly answer all of your questions, who knows how to professionally put together a wonderful estate plan for you to meet your needs for your living wills, for a trust that you're going to establish. That's what my husband and I did with Todd Civia at Civia Law. Answer all those questions that you might have about how to leave behind what you have if you're married and you want to make sure that you've got everything in place so that you don't have to think about all these things. If you're mourning the loss of your loved one, your significant other, your spouse, you don't want to be stuck in probate answering all these questions and everything after the fact. You need to do that right now. 833-995-WILL is the number to call and make sure that you get this whole plan put together. He can have finished documents in your hand within 2 weeks of that first strategy session. So reach out to him and schedule that appointment today. He has offices in Missouri and in Illinois. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL. Call Todd Civia and tell him Annie sent you. Online at CiviaLaw.com.
Did you all hear what's going on with these energy mandates? You know, I've been told they don't make a lot of sense, and I'm in the business. I agree 100%. Actually, they make 0 sense. So here's the easiest thing, and the only thing I have on a recommendation. You're going to need a new furnace or a new air conditioner. Just call me for a just common sense approach to your heating and cooling needs for your house. If your system is old or you just want to replace a system, now just call me. It's Bart Inman. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest and the only one, Missouri and Illinois, is 314-293-2600. Again, it's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it's bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing:
not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how you could build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour Saturday mornings at 6 here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Today's poll is asking you what is on every American's mind. What do you think of Doge? It's amazing how much this question actually pervades politics at this point. Grade Doge. Is it A, B, C, D, or F? And we will give you the results of this poll in a matter of minutes. 2:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on X at Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I wanna just dip into something here real quick before we get to the results of the YouTube live chat poll. You worked last week on some anti-American Idol stuff, right? What goes into your mind when you're putting something together like that?
Well, the first thing is, what type of song is this? Because when I hear a protest song, first I want to hear the message, and then I want to analyze the attempt, because there's no musicians there backing them. So they just decide, I'm going to write verse and chorus, sometimes multiple verses and chorus, and they're going to sing this song. And so I'm trying to capture what the background music is that's in their head.
It's time.
It's time. It's time for Anti-American Idol. For Anti-American Idol.
Is that AI?
No, well, the voices? Yeah.
For Anti-American Idol.
Uh-huh. So you got to clip them together like that.
Yeah, I have two clips here. Which one do I want?
You want the original first, because I don't know that anybody's heard the original.
The video?
Yeah.
One. I'm not going to play the video, but we'll dip into this a little bit here. This is the latest installation in protesting. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Keep on moving forward.
Tone is better.
Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back.
Okay, that's 22 seconds, and the clip is 2:32.
It's long.
I'm not going.
The guy just goes and goes and goes.
I'm not. Let's just go around. We can give up to 5 stars for this message here by this leftist protester. We're going to keep them moving forward, never turning back, which is what they said when Kamala Harris, we're not going back. They promised that they weren't going back, and they made the right decision, and we elected Donald Trump. So I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going forward.
Tone? Melody?
I would say strong. Yeah, I actually thought he came up with a memorable hook here. It's not quite as memorable as the last one, which I also can't remember right now.
I think
I heard stuck in my head
3 times, separate times this weekend, from people in my house or people I was around. Which side are you on?
Side? There it is. There it is. Which side are you on?
It doesn't end.
No.
It's a sticky one.
No, that one the lady couldn't sing, but it's still a hook. And this one also has a good hook, but he's a better singer.
Well, and also the which side are you on? The protest was terrible. But then we have our listener who rewrote it and performed it on his guitar and turned it into something that I don't mind hearing in my head, which I appreciate because it kind of overlaid the original protester creep that I had in my head.
That was TJ. TJ did that.
So out of 5 stars, Anti-American Idol, this one gets how many?
Oh, I'm going to say a 0 because the message is terrible.
Okay.
But though also the message is universal enough that you really don't get anything across because when you're singing it, you could be singing about anything.
That's true. I mean, there's a lot there.
Stop the fascists now. Stop the fascists now.
Passion. Dedication.
Yeah, fashion.
Stop the fascists now.
Fashion now.
Never turning back.
Ooh. And now down.
Never turning back. Send them all to Mars.
Send them all to Mars.
I just randomly
Yeah.
clicked on the
It would be great if he actually was singing about fashion and he was just dressed in very plain clothes.
Okay.
Like, stop the fashion now.
Fascist.
Yeah.
0 stars
0 stars.
from Ryan Wiggins. Maybe we found our Simon Cowell. Brad.
I mean, he's a better singer, but that song is not the earworm that the first song was. So I'm going to give it half a star.
Shelly, on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat poll, can you go ahead and read Shelly's comment there for us, Ryan?
Stop. Because there's lots of P's.
And Captain says...
my ears, because there's lots of
Okay.
A's.
Yeah. And Chris says...
Mute.
Okay. I'm gonna give him a 1 star
Okay.
for melody, discernible melody.
Okay.
That's about it. No, not really any creativity because there was that one little verse, the one little melody in there, and they were really committed to it. But it's 2.5 minutes.
Ethan just said he wants to give them a 5 star for the number of hotels that they keep illegal aliens in.
Ethan. Should I play Cut 22 here?
Ethan did not say that. I don't want to be mean to him.
No, mean. I thought you were giving him too much credit. 22, Cut 22 on here.
I don't know.
Never Turning Back, a ballad.
Yes. So here's what I did with this one.
So Ryan took it a step further.
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Trump is not a king. Not a king.
Oh, this reminds me of Anna Gasteyer and Will Ferrell in that SNL skit with the keyboard.
It's really hard to keep him on beat. If I kept going, it would have just gotten old.
I think that the floor dropped out. I think they just disappeared at the end there. They're like, nope.
The trap door in the road.
I'm going to say Anti-American Idol, judge myself. While the effort was really put into that remake, I'm going to give you, Ryan Wiggins, 0 stars. I'm going to take it down 1 because that was terrible.
Oh, but what if I went longer? No? Maybe some time changes in there or something?
I don't know, just like a beat that was consistent with the song.
With the person clapping.
But I will say with the effort, maybe like a 1/4 star, because I do know that you struggled mightily. And
I
you
did.
Spent more time trying to come up with something that you pretty much quit when that was the last thing you tried.
It would be easy to just sort of every time put dubstep under it. Which
that
is what
was
I
my
did with the first
suggestion.
one.
I go,
but
just find a beat.
No, you gotta lean into what they're thinking.
I said, just find a beat, keep it simple, do that. And he's like, how about a ballad?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's your time. You do whatever. Ethan, the results to today's YouTube live chat poll?
290 votes on today's YouTube live chat poll, which asks you, the listener, to grade Doge A, B, C, D,
Ryan,
or F.
You were
A.
Brad?
A.
Annie, A. Ethan, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm an A. The
A.
liberals are mad, so they're doing something right. So, okay, here are the results. We'll start from lowest to highest. 2% for D, 4% for F, 23% to B/C, and an overwhelming 71% give Doge an A.
291 votes on this. It just ticked up here. We might get to 300 before I end it in about 2 minutes. If you want to go vote, be heard, you can go throw one in there. Thank you for listening to the Annie Fry Show today. A reminder, you can listen to the podcast at anniefryshow.com/podcast, or keep it right here on the Odyssey app. You can check the podcast out there and keep it on the Odyssey app for the Mark Reardon Show coming next.
So beat the drum with me.
You have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hi, everyone. Brian Kilmeade here with a great announcement, especially everybody here at KFTK. St. Louis, I'm coming to you. March 22nd at the factory on stage. You're going to love this unscripted affair. It's going to be patriotic, inspirational, motivational. I'll go through all my books, give you the anecdotes inside Fox. We'll go over the news, the war on history, and the comeback of this guy, Donald Trump. Mark Reardon's going to join me on stage. Maybe some surprises in the lineup. But most of all, I want to see you. BrianKilmeade.com. Click on tickets. March 22nd at the factory.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
A 4th year of war begins in Ukraine. Elisa Brady, Fox News. But President Trump says it could end in weeks, just holding a joint news conference with French President Emmanuel Macron.
We want to save lives. We want to bring prisoners back and bring back families and children, because there's also a humanitarian tragedy affecting the Ukrainian people.
Macron says security guarantees are needed for Ukraine, but that President Trump had good reason to re-engage with Russia's President Putin. President Trump says he's close to securing an economic deal with Ukraine. Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky could travel to Washington as soon as next week, President Trump says, to sign a partnership with the U.S. for Ukraine's rare earth minerals.
Where we get our money back over a period of time, but it also gives us something where I think it's very beneficial to their economy, to them as a country.
Sitting next to French President Emmanuel Macron, President Trump also says Ukraine's security can be backed with European peacekeepers, a proposal he says Russian President Vladimir Putin would accept.
Well, President Putin says he has not discussed resolving the Ukraine conflict in detail with President Trump. In remarks broadcast on state TV, also saying Russian and American negotiating teams did not discuss details when they met last week in Saudi Arabia. President Trump says he blames U.S. leadership for letting other countries take advantage of the U.S.
Every aspect that you can imagine they took advantage of. I look at some of these agreements, I'd read them at night, and I'd say, who would ever sign a thing like this? So the tariffs will go forward, yes, and we're going to make up a lot of territory.
Doubling down on his plan for reciprocal tariffs, while also suggesting delayed tariffs on Canada and Mexico will go forward, despite their leaders' efforts to ramp up border security. A mixed finish on Wall Street, the Dow up 33 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
It is time to take the quiz.
5 days a week, it's 5 questions in less than 5 minutes. We ask people on the streets of New York City to play along. Let's see how you do.
What are the 2 active volcanoes on mainland Europe called?
Is Vesuvio one of them?
Vesuvius and Etna.
How'd you do exactly? These get tougher, so hang on.
Take the quiz every weekday at thequiz.fox. Then come back here to see how you did. Thank you for taking the quiz.
As President Donald Trump begins his second term.
Promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises.
Stick with the Fox News Rundown as history is made during his first 100 days. Whether it impacts your family, your wallet, or the world, our team of journalists will give you the sharp analysis and perspective you expect from Fox News. The Fox News Rundown, the first 100 days. Listen and follow now at foxnewsrundown.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
I wanted to shift gears here and tee this up for Brad and Ryan as well. I am, of course, female, but I am raising a young man. And I think that when it comes to watching what the Barack Obama-led Hope and Change, complete and total social and cultural revolution that they have successfully implemented, and how much it has affected young men who have grown up in this society. I'm very grateful that my son, who is 15 right now, is getting to have his most formative years in a time where the culture isn't hating men so much. Let's listen to JD Vance here talk about masculinity at CPAC.
Ask me, my message to young men is I think that our culture sends a message to young men that you should suppress every masculine urge. You should try to cast aside your family. You should try to suppress what makes you a young man in the first place. And I think that my message to young men is don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. It's our message, the cultural message, and I think the president's and mine is the exact opposite, but our cultural message is I think that it wants to turn everybody, into whether male or female, into androgynous idiots who think the same, talk the same, and act the same. We actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys to thrive as young men and as young women, and we're going to help with our public policy to make it possible to do that.
So listening to JD Vance there, I'm not going to preface a question to you at all. I'm going to ask you as men what your thoughts are on what he just said there. Brad, you definitely work with youth as a youth pastor. Ryan, you're raising 2 sons. From your perspective as a man, Ryan, what does it mean to you to hear the Vice President of the United States speak that way, especially knowing he's our age?
It's fantastic to hear this coming from a real leader in the United States, because there are people who've been saying this for a long time. It's not as if there's been no counterculture message, which is what this is right now. It's a countercultural message. There are great thought leaders in America who have been saying this for the last decade. Before that, you didn't really need to say it, but for the last decade, you have. To hear him as the vice president of the United States asserting that not only is this true, we're acting based on this being true, and also don't let anybody tell you that it's not. You can disagree, but what he's saying is you can disagree with this. This is America, but you're wrong. And, and we're going to be acting based on these premises. And it is just refreshing to get back to the basics. And J.D. Vance is actually very good at that. He's a really good spokesperson for these cultural issues.
Brad?
I'll tell you what I love about it is that you've got somebody like J.D. Vance who is basically living what he is speaking there. He's talking about, like, if there was somebody that I would like my son to grow up to be like, it would be J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance didn't allow the excuses of his upbringing to allow him to turn out to be anything other than a bad person or anything other than what he was destined to be. What's great about him is and I remember watching the inauguration when they were swearing him in. I saw a still photo of his mom staring at him as he was being sworn in as the vice president of the United States. And there was nothing but pride and admiration in her eyes. J.D. Vance has grown up to be that man, to espouse the masculinity that we've been talking about. And being the vice president, he provides that counterweight to the vacuum that was created and these other men, quote unquote men, that have come in and basically are selling a version of it that is distorted and is just as bad as the crazy feminist stuff on the other side. There's men that have come in and they're speaking into our young men's lives with nonsense, distorted versions of what masculinity are. And what we need as a culture is to push both of those views out and get back to what J.D. Vance was just talking about right there. And I am so excited to have the vice president of the United States not only espouse those views, but to live those views and be a great example of those views.
As a mother, I'm always I don't know if you're here yet, Ryan. You're probably not with your kids. But I'm thinking of how my kids would be as spouses. And, especially with my son being 15, I'm 3 years away from maybe losing him in my home.
This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop this, start eating more of these. You might think this would take.
And then he goes out into the world and, like, at that point, it's like, my husband and I will obviously always be there for him. But at that point, you gotta, I've pre-programmed you with the full amount of lessons. I say for the record, every time I'm saying I mean my husband and me, but he's not here. We pre-program him with a foundation that we want to be his reference point when anything comes up. And for our family, that's our faith. That's our Christian faith. That's why I invest, which is a true sacrifice for our family, to invest in a private education that includes Jesus in lessons, because that's important to us. Now, if you have a different faith and you prioritize your faith, then I understand and respect why you would invest in that foundation being broader than just what mom and dad tell you. That's why we go to church. This whole foundation that we set for them, a firm foundation, so that when they're no longer at home with us and we're not literally supervising the challenges that they face, that the reference point that they go back to is a solid, firm foundation. The scary is a kind of, I don't know if that's the right word, but the incredibly intimidating thing about that understanding is that if you know anything, if you are if you're a Christian person, what you understand to be true is that firm foundation, by virtue of needing to have that firm foundation, if you have a faith walk or whatever, you're going to know that the whole intent of the worldly world is going to constantly try to challenge him and push him off of that solid foundation. And it's not popular, nor is it trendy, to be outwardly rooted in your faith. And that everything that the world is throwing at you, whether it's things to challenge the calmness and the soundness of your mind, if it's sex, which is everywhere and thrown into the faces of our young people. And I know a lot of people think immediately, and I'm saying the words out loud, so earmuffs, little kids, but pornography that is out there that is reaching in to poison the minds of young men, middle-aged men, and old men. There is an equivalent that is reaching into the telephones that your daughters are holding, the screens that your daughters are seeing, the social life that your daughters are having. I mean, it's all the same kind of poison. And it's all there to rip you away from the firm foundation that's been planted inside of you. You pray and pray and pray that when they are out of the house, that firm foundation is the thing that stands, even if they hate your guts because you didn't give them the money that they want or the situation, the setup that they want, that firm foundation is there. The things that I hear J.D. Vance talking about, they're not only biblical things, but they're not biblical things. And I think that the very baseline jackhammer that the Obama mentality put towards this line of thinking was to socially reconstruct everything you know to be true so that you wouldn't challenge it publicly, that it becomes so hateful to suggest things that are by traditional nature your own values, that, okay, while you have those values, you better not talk about them. You better not put them out there. Because if you do, we're coming at you hard. And we will cancel you. We will end you. We will make sure everybody understands the bigot that you are. And they went the hardest at white men because that was the only way that they could upend the whole system. Traditional values value men, and truly, in the way that traditional values value men, it respects women because it uplifts the family. And you can't have that as a societal norm. You cannot have the furtherance of society without family and procreation.
Do this 7 minutes a day until March 1st. We start today. In a week, you'll feel better. In 2 weeks, you'll look better.
When you hear J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, with not an ounce or speck of fear in his voice, say, men need to be men. Men need to understand that they need to not be afraid of this anymore. We are talking culture now. We are not talking politics. And culture dictates politics. Culture is first. And right now, you have a whole host of young men who are tired of being told to sit down and shut up, tired of suppressing their natural instincts as testosterone-laden men. This is the thing that frustrates me the most. The fact that they've been told to sit down and shut up about it doesn't stop the testosterone level in their body from happening and from influencing. You can't stop that from happening. What these people need to be taught, what these XY chromosome humans need to be taught, is how to be a man about it. Not how to be a savage Neanderthal who has all these urges. And I mean, quite honestly, if you've got a sexual urge, whatever it is, you should fulfill it, because if it feels good for you, then you should go there. You need to be taught how to be a man that commands respect by giving respect, a man that understands how to treat a woman who knows how to self-respect and respect the men in her life and the women in her life, and to uphold those same sorts of foundational basics that keep a successful procreating society alive. Like, we are craving in our society men. And when I hear J.D. Vance talking about it, that permits in our minds, not governmentally or legally, that permits people to go, did you hear what J.D. Vance said? Did you hear what he said about masculinity? And then the people next to you go, yeah, it was great. But you're whispering. But at least you're talking. And once those conversations start happening, we can get back to the place where, we've had conversations on the show about toxic masculinity before. I do believe that there is toxic masculinity, but when I say toxic masculinity, I'm talking about the greasy, slick guys who walk up and think that because they're a man, they're going to like insert themselves into your life in a way that is just going to dictate things. And no, that's not how it works. real, raw, strong masculinity is incredibly potent. And it moves the ball down the field. And that's what causes women to gain strength. We have purpose through one another. And there is a natural order to things that, I will say it this way, in the midst of all of the opportunities that exist, I'm not saying there's only one right way, but I am telling you that the people who have been living of the traditional lifestyle or the traditional values have been told that they don't get to exist. They are excluded. They are not included. The inclusivity of diversity does not include heterosexual Christian white men. Until now, it's back. And I'm so happy to hear JD Vance talking about it as a mother who wants to make sure that my son is growing up in a culture, in a society where he is taught to be a respectful man. And I'm happy to hear you guys say, too, from your perspective, because it's obviously different than mine, that this has been absent, and it's really good to hear.
What's shocking about this is that I think America has just assumed, maybe the whole Western world has assumed for the last 30, 40, maybe even longer than that years, that the inevitable march of culture was constantly away from these things. Nobody thought it was possible to return to some of these things culturally. And we are in the midst of, and we're, a month in? People thought, well, maybe during Trump's first term, we're starting to hit on it. But we didn't quite get there, and then you saw it all regress for 4 years. It all went away. And now you're going, wait a minute. This is bigger than just politics. Mm-hmm. That's why, you play this, is because it's not just J.D. Vance vice president. It's J.D. Vance, the dad, J.D. Vance, huge platform, talking to men culturally. Nobody thought we could get back to this place. And the people who've been waiting for this and praying for this are excited to see that maybe we're getting there. Not that you need cultural validation to believe these things or to live them out, but man, is it nice to see the culture returning a little bit to some sanity.
Well, I don't think it's even that you need cultural validation. You just want to see the family return as the family unit as the central unit of culture, because it's so vital for a successful, thriving culture. That's what all that yearning and desire is for. There's a reason the family unit has been what it was for eternity past, because it worked. It's good for society. And the people that are like, hey, we need to get back to this, are like, hey, look what's going on with culture. Look what's going on with society. We're trying it your way and it's not working.
You know what it is? It's a renaissance. It truly is a renaissance. And if we get to the point where the ideas that people did cross over in the aisle or step into Trump world to make this possible, and Donald Trump did that by creating a coalition that was broader than just, are you GOP enough? It wasn't that. He did something that was absolutely transformative for the Republican Party. While this is happening, I remind you, when things start going better, and I think they're going better already, it's going to take some people some time. Your kindness, your welcoming nature, your affirmation of, yeah, I voted for this, not running away scared, but your willingness to stand up and talk about these things, it will attract more people. You want this to be a true renaissance? Share it, spread it, live it. Do not be afraid of it, because what they keep saying, we are so back.
Most people have no clue that in 2024, the best way to make money with Amazon is not with physical products. It's Amazon's other company, Audible. Audible has been paying me a steady and reliable income every month for years, and I'm not the only one. People like Katrina, Carmen, Elena, and Renee are all enjoying a significant monthly income using the same system.
Just this past month, I reached $8,000 in revenue, and I'm on track